Hello, Durud and Shalom. We be live. Hi, Monkey.
Hello, Duru Shalom and Ola. How you doing?
Good, good. How are you feeling today? Excited
I'm
about the
feeling great.
new boom booms against, what do you think about the current new military operations by President Trump in southern Iran? It seems to be escalating, still remains in southern Iran, though. Uh, but it is escalating, it's a lot more intense than before. What are your thoughts on it so far based on what you've seen?
Look, based on what I've seen escalation. I don't think that's gonna go down. I think it's gonna go up.
Okay. Well, do you think did you saw President Trump's? Well, I'll just play it. So Trump just came out and said he threatened that he's going to hit power plants next, which I mean he said this before and then it didn't happen, and now he's saying it again. Will this time be different? Let's play it and see what you think.
I would do that.
Do you anticipate that the strikes we're seeing this week against Iran will expand? Are you considering hitting energy targets or other locations
They're going to
inside of Iran?
expand. I'll save the energy targets for last, but ultimately we'll hit energy targets, yeah. But we're going to hit them very hard tonight. We're going to hit them very hard tomorrow night. We're going to hit them very hard the night after. And then next week it gets really bad for them because next week comes the power plants. Next week comes the bridges. We're going to knock out all their power plants. We're going to knock out all their bridges unless they get to the table and negotiate. I would do that.
Okay, what do you think about all of that?
Well, I don't think he should negotiate. He knows they're scum and he knows they're not gonna keep their word. I don't know if that's just to keep them on the fence or he's seriously thinking of going back to that. That would be retarded. But I do say, if you notice, at the second he was asked, well, it is going to escalate. Like it is going to expand. Like if you notice, the first response was so quick that it seems to me like, oh, this is for sure going to escalate. And he has a specific plan per week, but like very specifically, right at the start, when when he first answers the question, he doesn't even let the guy finish. Like this is definitely going to escalate.
Okay, but here's a criticism of President Trump that I want you to respond to. Okay, some people are saying that President Trump has made it so that the Islamic Republic doesn't take him seriously. He comes up with a big threat like, oh, I'm going to end the civilization, I'm going to hit the power plants, and then they come and the Islamic Republic comes in like, okay, well, let's talk, we will give you this and this, and then you're like, oh, they're going to give me a deal, they're talking, so I'm not going to do it, right? And so because President Trump has made huge threats so far and he didn't follow through, and by the way, I know what your response is going to be, I think, Monkey, but I just want to say this so that we hear your response, right? Because President Trump has came out multiple times and made a big threat and didn't follow through, then now the Islamic Republic doesn't take the threat seriously. And especially because Trump himself publicly came out and announced that, oh, we can't do this war because of oil reserves and stuff like that. He publicly mentioned that, like, our oil reserves are too low. The Islamic Republic is not bothered by these big threats saying that we're going to come and hit the power plants. And they're basically calling his bluff. And especially now that he's saying it again, that we're going to hit the power plants. If he doesn't hit the power plants again, the impression of the Islamic Republic is going to be that these people just can't. Like they can't do what they can't open the Strait of Hormuz. They can't come and hit us in the way that they want to. And these are just all empty threats. And we're winning this because if the Americans could do these things, they would follow through with their threats. So what's your response to that criticism?
Well, I think I mentioned it right now, like just before you asked me. I said it would be retarded, and I think I would be insulting the developmentally challenged if said that the developmentally challenged would go deal with the RGC again, because I think even they would have enough self awareness to know you can't fucking deal with these people. So any talk of talking to them again would be seen by me as retarded.
Oh wow, that's a strong.
Oh, even worse. Uh, trying to find a word worse than that. It would be self-deluded.
Wow, those are strong words coming from you, as a big fan of President Trump.
I'm no fan of stupid decisions, so I don't care what
Mm.
human makes a stupid decision. If I'm a friend, if I love a person and they're doing something stupid, I would say, "Hey, my friend, hey, my brother, hey, my sister, you're doing something stupid. Why don't you stop being fucking stupid?" I would not be his fan if I coddled him and praised him like he's some kind of golden fucking calf and said, "Oh, it's Trump, so it must be." That's stupid and that's not helping. Might there be, like, I can't steel man that? Might there be a plan that I don't know about? Could he be lying to them and make them think there's a negotiation so they don't take stronger, hardened positions? I don't know about that. I would hope that's the plan, because he does tend to say a thing, say a thing, say a thing, say a thing, and not do it until he does it. Make the threat, make the threat, make the threat, make the threat, make them believe you're not going to do it. But make the threat, make the threat,
Mhm.
make the threat. And when you do it, hey, I told you like 20 times, you didn't listen. Don't cry now. That's my steel man. But if you're asking me, what is your opinion of this statement?
Mm.
I think it's stupid.
Okay, so here's the steel man of President Trump. People who say that President Trump doesn't follow through with his threats need to remember that Ali Khamenei is dead. And Operation Epic Fury did happen. So the fact that he makes threats that sometimes doesn't happen doesn't mean that they don't always happen. Operation Epic Fury was the thing. Operation Midnight Hammer was the thing, and they were devastating. And in fact, the fact that some of them he follows through with some of them, the fact that he doesn't follow through with some of them, I think it's dishonest to suggest that Trump always chickens out, because we all remember that Khamenei was killed and Operation Midnight Hammer actually happened. And in my opinion, some of them following through with some of them and not with the other ones makes them unpredictable, and the unpredictability is an asset in war.
I would also say there's things he's threatened to do and that hasn't done yet. Because if you look at the long arc of him saying he's going to do something, sometimes it takes a very long time, but it happens. So that you got to make that distinction, because there's a lot of people that at the time said, "Oh, he won't do it. Oh, he won't do it. Oh, he won't do it." And it might have been 3 months he didn't do it. But when he did it, they didn't go back and say, "You know what? I was wrong about him saying he would never do this." It's just that he took 3 months to do it. So that's kind of my steel man. There's things he hasn't done yet. But if you ask me, "Oh, let's go back and negotiating because you got hit again, just like all the other times they got hit, and that time they're gonna like, I don't. Why would you trust them again if you know they're scumbags? Why would you trust them again if you know you destroyed this, destroyed that, and then they came in, they talked, and they lied? Why? Why would any of that happen? Maybe if it's some mind games, that's the only way I could steel man that. Anything else would be stupid.
Interesting. So, guys, I see your super chats. We're going to get to them very soon. I also want to mention this. If President Trump goes as far as, I don't know, taking over Kharg Island or attacking power plants to the point that it paralyzes the Islamic Republic, right? If he does that, then this is a level of escalation that will make the Islamic Republic do certain things that it hasn't done before. I know many people think that, well, Armin, the Islamic Republic has done what it is capable of. They're not capable of doing anything more. That is true to a certain extent. That is only true when it comes to what you have some with their missile capabilities. That is most of what they have. They do have some cluster bombs that they weren't using before and they're using right now, but what they target could change. The Islamic Republic has held back on massively targeting certain infrastructure that would devastate the oil market in a way that it hasn't done before. So, for example, most of the attacks of the Islamic Republic has been on U.S. bases, some infrastructure, some energy infrastructure, some civilian places, but not at the level has been targeting U.S. bases. The Islamic Republic can start targeting energy infrastructure and water salination infrastructure in Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Kuwait, UAE, and Qatar in a way that it hasn't done before. And if it does do that, it will it could really escalate the situation globally when it comes to the energy markets, especially now with less cushion in the oil reserves. It is uh, it is it is likely that the Islamic Republic would try to do that, and it's possible that it will have a way more devastating effect on energy prices than what we have seen in during the Operation Epic Fury and Operation Economic Fury. So that is a leverage that the Islamic Republic still has, that the Americans are aware of. And that might be one reason why the Americans are not going to that level. They can like it's so what the Americans can do, like taking over Harg Island, is easy for the Americans. Destroying power plants and energy infrastructures and bridges is easy for the Americans. It's really easy. What is more difficult is pushing back on the consequences from doing that, right? Um, Taking over Harg Island is easy. Defending American troops there while missiles and drones are coming at them, especially those cable drones. I don't know what they're, the ones that are basically connected
Fiber
to
optic cable drones.
fiber. Yes, because those cannot be jammed, right? And the Islamic Republic hasn't used them yet, right? Defending against those is going to be difficult. Just think about the American soldiers dying in Iraq with roadside bombs. This will be even more challenging than that, right? And also protecting all of the energy infrastructure of the Arab countries around the Persian Gulf, that would be difficult. And if all of this happens, if the war escalates to that level and the Islamic Republic feels like, okay, I'm at the edge of collapse, there's no point holding back anymore, they could cause prices to skyrocket. What do you think about that, Mike?
Well, we do have a history of taking over oil fields. We did it in '91. We did it that's during the Gulf War. We did it in 2003. That's Operation Iraqi Freedom. We did it in 2017 in Syria. That was at the ISIS day. So we did it Task Force Shield. That was all about controlling that oil. We did it in 2014 in the Morning Glory raids in Libya. To be more specific, the siege of Baij refinery in Iraq, that was 2014 to 2015. In 2019, we did a defensive deployment in Saudi Arabia. And, we do have a history of taking over an oil field, letting it pump and controlling it. So if the plan is, okay, I'll just take the oil. I'll control the oil, I'll defend the oil. Anything that comes against that oil, any attacks on that oil, I'm going to hit with everything that I have as hard as I can until they can't even try to hit it.
So the thing is that taking the place that has that the oil is that distributes the oil, and even the oil wells themselves are easy, but then operating them while defending them is difficult, right? So because it's not enough for United States to go and take over Harg Island, because if you take over Harg Island, what you're doing is that the Islamic Republic would not be able to export oil at the scale it used to, right? And that would devastate the Islamic Republic. But then the Islamic Republic would not send oil to Harg Island for it to get exported. So it will also devastate global economy. So if United States wants to take over the oil in a way that the flow of oil continues, they need to take Harg Island and, like, for example, Khuzestan province. And then once they take that would mean that a much heavier ground, because the oil doesn't come from Harg Island, the oil comes from other areas. And then the United States needs to go and take all of those oil wells, and not only that, but operate the oil wells. Taking and maintaining the land is something that the United States could do easily. But doing operating the oil wells for the flow of oil to continue, that is extremely challenging.
And that is something we have a history of accomplishing. I'm not talking about an island, and I'm not talking about a day or a week. I'm talking about holding and operating, and I'm talking about a history, a long history. This is 25 years of doing it since 1991. Actually, this operation started in 1990. So it's 36 years of
Where
us
was this
having the
again?
ability to do that. Like, I'm looking at the data right now. I specifically, because of this, asked AI, hey, have we been able to hold and operate? Hold and operate. What we usually do is we have local partners. So this might be the start of why we had that escrow account. And this might be the start of working with some local people that don't like the IRGC. And that would be the excuse.
So give me like the biggest example on your list. I just want to see the biggest.
With ISIS was one of the biggest example with us keeping the oil, Syrian oil. Islamic State swept across Iran in 2019. The mission involved again under Trump, deny ISIS the ability to recapture the oil fields, block Russian-backed Assad regime, secure steady stream of revenue for U.S.-backed SDF. Like, that was the mission was the revenue.
Okay, so that's different from Iran because that's the government, the local government, it was on U.S. side, right? So you have, it's not like ISIS. This like so the United States itself is not operating. In Iran, we don't have an alternative, something like the SDF, right? In Iran, we don't have that. We don't have a local government in place that has an experience, that has been involved with operating oil fields and this supply chain already exist there, defending itself against ISIS to come take the oil field. So the de facto, for that example, the de facto is that the oil field belongs to those Kurdish people, right? And United States is helping the Kurdish people push back ISIS trying to take over the oil field. And those people are already a U.S. ally, and they already were in the process of operating the oil fields, right? And the supply chain of that. We don't have that in Iran right now. In Iran, we had the de facto is that all of the oil is in the hand of IRGC, and there is no alternative government or anybody managing the oil field. So that would not be. That's not the same.
It's not the same, but that doesn't mean it's impossibly different. Like, we have to recognize that, like, okay, so if it's not exactly the same, and if I have these exact conditions, then I can't fulfill this mission. I think that there is a possibility of fulfilling the mission. I'm just saying what I'm saying. Like, let me finish. Like, what I'm saying is, we don't know if we have our test people that we can tap into. We don't know if it's going to be declared a government that is in absence, and these escrow accounts that we created a month ago could be where that money is going. And from the sales or whatever, we don't know what's going on. So there's so many factors of the way that we can do this that we don't know, that talking like it's impossible would be forgetting who we're dealing with. This is USA. Okay. If anyone can do it, they can.
Just to be clear, I never said this is what I'm adding. I never said it's impossible. Never claimed that. What I'm saying is that this is not just a little bit different, it's significantly different. And it's not impossible, but it's significantly more challenging.
I only gave one example.
Difficult. Yeah, I know, but every single one of those examples will be significantly different from what we're dealing with here right now.
But the combination would be similar.
Yeah, but it is. But I'm just saying this is by far more challenging than any of those examples. Just to be clear, and obviously nothing is impossible, and I would never say that. Let's see. We need to listen to the people who are against us. Let's see what their view on this is. So I just while we were talking, I just saw this is interesting because Nick Fuentes was talking about the exact same thing that we're talking about. And I would just want to say the people who are against President Trump and against Israel and pro the Islamic regime, what they think about this. Indeed, this is our enemy. And guys, after this, I'll read I know your super chat is actually relevant to this, so I don't want to read it later. So let me just listen to this, and then I'll see what Amir and PJ are saying in the chat. Give me 1 second.
Damaging the infrastructure is a different story. Because if Saudi Arabia, the Emirates, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, and Iran, if their oil and gas infrastructure is destroyed, it will take 5 years to rebuild. Notoriously, oil and gas is a very expensive enterprise, and this infrastructure is very.
So right now, I think he's misrepresenting what's happening. President Trump didn't say he wants to destroy the oil and gas infrastructure. He said he wants to hit the power plants. The power plants that that take the oil and gas, the processed product, processed fuel from the oil and gas, and turn it into electricity. That's what President Trump is saying. That I don't know if he misunderstood what President Trump said, or
No, he's lying.
or not, or he's lying.
5 years to rebuild. Notoriously, oil and gas is a very expensive enterprise, and this infrastructure is very capital intensive. It takes time to rebuild. And once you're in an open war zone, it becomes very complicated. You're going to need to give these companies reassurance that they will be secure, that their civilian crews are going to be safe. And then they need to go in and convince investors and these companies to rebuild. And then the actual rebuilding, it takes years, not weeks, months, but years.
Okay. Give me a break here. He's making a whole lot of assumptions. He's assuming that, like, we know the strait is closed now and it's closed on purpose. He's assuming we won't be able to, number one, protect these countries. Number two, allow them to have their oil run through. Because there's another side of this operation where we have every other Persian Gulf ally pump at maximum and just, escort every ship out. We could do that and keep the oil flowing. We would need those investments in America to come more now than later and be more factual than promised. But it is something that can be done. So if we're talking about just maintaining the flow of oil right now, we could hit so hard and constant that is a possibility. And he is ignoring that completely to try to claim that all these facilities in all these countries are going to be destroyed. That's a big assumption. And everything he says after that is based on that assumption.
Okay, somebody in the chat saying don't give him airtime. So let me be clear. This guy's airtime that he gets is like more than 1 million times more than whatever we could give him. Like, and I'm not exaggerating, right? This is with the airtime that we're giving him. This guy is huge. Okay, this guy is huge. What we're doing here would not make a dent, would not make a difference. And also, we need to listen to what our enemies are saying, because we're at war. And when you're at war, you monitor the movements and the positions of your enemy. Like when you're in a battlefield, your commander of your battlefield is always has the binoculars on and is just watching the movement of the enemy. So we want to make sure that we are paying attention to the people against us are
Can
saying.
I ask you something about that? Wouldn't we get more airtime from featuring him than he would from us? Like, that's how big his audience is, that people who hate him is going to click on, let me watch anyone devastate this bastard. That way, who's here? Oh, Armin, go ahead and devastate this bastard. And we would be gaining more than he could gain from us. That is a possibility. In fact, we may take some of his viewers that like him, but here are enough of our clips and say, you know what? He is full of shit.
Right. Okay. Anna's also saying, I understand. Okay.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate you too.
Maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years. And so this means that the supply of energy is permanently reduced. That's an altogether different story. And this is why the United States has been reluctant to make this an energy war, because then we realize the problem becomes so much more severe. It's not a question of.
See how he went from 5 years to permanent? How is it 5 years? First of all, he says it's going to be 5 years under the assumption that all these places are going to be devastated and destroyed. And then he turned 5 years into permanent. Like, that's a shifting in what your brain is accepting about the premise. Like, he is playing, he likes to play mind games.
So the way I see it, what he's not taking into account is that if you go in and basically damage the Islamic Republic to the point that the whole thing falls apart, and then you bring stability to the Persian Gulf, even if even if we do what he is saying, that we damage the infrastructure, oil infrastructure in Iran, the security from the flow of oil from Iraq, Saudi Arabia, and other, and gas from Qatar and other countries around the Persian Gulf will more than compensate for the loss of the oil supply from the Islamic Republic, right?
No, I don't think that's what's going on. I think he has a motivation that comes from where his income is. So he makes the
But I wasn't
assumption
let me
that
finish.
best aligns. Like you say, well, he's not seeing. No, he sees it. He knows you're right.
Oh my
He
goodness.
knows everything you just said is true.
Okay, but let me finish, okay? Because and every time when I'm saying he's not seeing that, like, assume I'm talking about the audience, because I cannot keep changing. I cannot keep monitoring my language
got it,
regarding.
got it.
Yeah. So just
My
think
bad.
like when I say yes, no, it's okay. Because when somebody is talking, and they're telling you BS, I'm just going to talk about what they're saying as if they mean what they're saying. But I understand. I completely agree with you, Monkey, that this person is probably understands the lies that he's putting out there, and he has an agenda. But you're completely right to point that out, right? But what I'm trying to say to people, to people who might fall for this BS, you have to understand that it will be offset. The security, the fall of the Islamic Republic will cause, short term, it will make oil prices go really up. But long term, it will have such a positive effect in securing oil supply. Even in the short term, if the oil infrastructure in Iran needs to be rebuilt, assuming that they will target it and destroy it, which I don't see why they would do that. You could just take out the power plants, and that will already paralyze the Islamic Republic. But even if you do that, let's say you take 5 years to rebuild it. Those 5 years is not going to devastate the energy markets, because now everybody sees like, oh my God, without the Islamic Republic, there's so much steady supply of oil from almost every other country and around the Persian Gulf. So the world will be, I think the oil prices would drop significantly, right? But I do believe to do that, the United States, to get rid of the Islamic Republic, the United States needs to do something that temporarily will increase oil prices to uncomfortable levels, right? And I think that, so Monkey, you said they need to do this before the elections. One argument for them needing to do this after the elections is how uncomfortable this is going to get. If United States does what it needs to do to get rid of the Islamic Republic, prices, the effect that will have on at prices will be so uncomfortable, and it's a pain that maybe the world has to go through, because the other side of it is going to be very good. Like after that, everything is going to be really good.
Yeah, I understand that line of thinking. I completely reject it. I don't think you can wait. I think waiting would be a problem. You can do operations, you can do defense, you can do attacks, but you would have to have an attack so massive and so devastating to the IRGC before the election that it would seem like it's dead. Even if you have to go back in after, you have to have massive operations. And this talk of a deal and coming back to the table, he needs to shut the fuck up about that. He needs to make them beg on their fucking television for a deal. That's the only way this stops. And he needs to say it like I'm saying it. I'm not going to hear their calls. They want to make a deal. I'm getting their calls, but their calls, they're always zipper dive me on the phone. And then when they go in the public, they act like they're big and tough. So I want them to zipper dive me on their fucking television. When they go on their television and beg the planet for a deal, then we will consider it. But until then, you're blocked on WhatsApp. I'm not taking your calls. I'm going to unblock you when I see that in public, because you don't understand the level of anger and rage that comes when every time he says he wants a fucking deal from a conservative. Like, American conservatives get enraged by talk about a deal with these people. These right-wing extremists, these woke horseshoe, woke right bullshitters, in no way represent the grand majority of conservatives. It's not even close. They're only this high up because they're funded. This person is funded. Tucker is funded. Candace is funded. This isn't organic. These motherfuckers ain't organic. And they don't represent conservatism. And people that don't understand conservatives see people like him and say, oh, how he represents like maybe 1 million people. Well, I'd say about half of them are from outside the US. I'd say another half of that, like 1/4 of them, are just lefties, propping themselves up and pretending to be the right wing, or just listening in because they like what he's saying. And it makes them feel like, oh, we're taking over both sides. And then maybe 1/4 of them are actually conservative. I don't give them any credence. I don't give their arguments any weight. And I'm going to tell you, real conservatives are sick of this fucking deal talk. And he needs to get something fucking done and shut the fuck up about a deal.
Wow. And where are you seeing this? Where are you seeing that you're sure about this?
Because people who only seek the anger rage clips aren't looking at the what is the narrative that is supported by most of conservatives. If you're like, you got to have a balance. If you listen to this guy and you don't listen to someone like Asmongold, who's not an extreme, he's like a conservative but center right, very center, I would say he's more center than he is right, but very close to the center. If you go to anyone that's closer to the center, they're sick of this deal talk. They're very logical people. They're measured. They're not emotional. They don't got this I hate Israel. They don't got this isolationist mentality, because that's an emotional mentality. If you try to approach this logically, of course we can't hate Israel just because they're Jewish. Of course they're not behind every plot. There's Marxist in Judaism. There's Marxist in Christianity. There's Marxism among Jewish people, among white people, among black people. The problem here is the top-down authoritarian people against individual rights. And they come in every race, they come in every creed, they come in every profession, and they come in every country. That's the problem. These people don't represent like most conservatives at all. Not even close.
Okay. Let me finish this and then we'll go back to President Trump.
This an energy war, because then we realize the problem becomes so much more severe. It's not a question of resuming the supply of oil, ending this temporary interruption. It becomes this huge problem of capital and construction, and then establishing a secure zone in these countries, both countries to rebuild. It's very problematic. So if that's a real threat, you have to consider what that actually entails. If Trump is going to be bombing civilian infrastructure in Iran next week, it's over for everybody. So I'm not sure if that's a serious threat. This is where we are.
All right. So that was that. He thinks it's not a serious threat. And again, it all comes with the misrepresentation of what Trump said. Trump didn't say he's going to destroy, like from the very beginning, it started with the claim that Trump wants to hit the energy infrastructure. Trump said power plants. Like, I don't know, like, do people not understand the difference between the oil and gas infrastructure and power plants? Because that's pretty basic.
Look, he's lying. Like Nick is lying. Of course, Trump didn't say that. Of course, Trump doesn't want to destroy the infrastructure. He'll to protect it as long as he possibly can. And if he does that, like, he might do it. But if he does it, you're gonna see Marines land. If he does it, we're going all in. That's why I don't think it's gonna happen. That's why I don't like the threat of the plants, because to have the threat of the plants, that means you're doing something larger. That means you need to control electricity inside. You need to have everything, off. And why would you need to have everything off? Because you're doing something in land. Like these are the things that you do things for a reason, right? And the reason to turn off power plants is very specific, right? So I don't think he's gonna do it. But if he does it, the significance militarily is very different. Why would we turn off power plants? And there's different ways to do it. You can turn it off without destroying it. There's different ways to take out a power plant without destroying it. But if that happens at any level, what's going to happen on the ground is very different. And I still wouldn't underestimate the loyalty that some, battalions even in the Artesh might have to Prince Reciprocaly. I wouldn't underestimate how many troops we already have trained around. I wouldn't underestimate the things that are happening and say, oh, I should have heard it. Like I would have heard of something. We have done such large scale things in the past and so much with so few people in the past that I would not underestimate something going on in the ground. Like what we define and a ground invasion is very different from like boots on the ground. What's boots on the ground? How many people is that? Is it 5,000? Is it 10,000? Is it 20? Is it 100,000? What is boots on the ground? Is it a small force? Some of these boats carry 7,000 Marines. They don't carry them there as decoration. They're there to get on the ground. That's what they do. So when people say, oh, we don't want boots on the ground, that usually means a large scale operation. And on the left, sometimes if one boot touches the ground, oh my God, we've gone too far. But you have to know that the definition of boots on the ground is different for different people. And a lot of Americans would be willing to accept a small coordinating force to talk to and vet some locals. There's a lot of stuff that we don't know. That there's a lot of assumption of why this is impossible. That's just making everything harder.
All right, let's see. We got 2 super chats. Amir with a super chat saying, listen to the president, hit the like button very hard. Thank you so much, Amir. Guys, hit the like button so that more people end up seeing the stream. I appreciate the cricket here. Thank you so much for always supporting us. And PJ with a question and a super chat. Thank you so much, PJ, saying, so I know the people of Iran have scheduled power outages. Will striking the power plants cause more outages for the people in Iran? Absolutely. Definitely. It will cause more power outages for the people in Iran. And let me tell you something. This is not a I don't have a poll. So just take it as, for what it's worth. But every single person in Iran I talk to, they know that if they hit the power plants are hit, they're going to have more power outages, a lot more power outages. But at least the people I'm talking to in Iran, they welcome it, because they say if we have to go, if this is necessary, if hitting the power plants is a necessary step towards regime change, then we'll go out without power for as long as it's necessary to get regime change. It's interesting because actually I shouldn't share this information. Never mind, I'll hold that back. But what do you think about that
celebration of strikes, right? Like the people say, hey, get rid of these people, hit them hard. Like we're not gonna mind. Like that's kind of what you're getting at, right?
Yes, because here's the thing: the Iranian people that at least the ones that I talk to, what they say is that our infrastructure are the Iranian people, right? That's our main infrastructure. And if you hit the power plants and if you destroy the power plants, once the Islamic Republic falls, we will rebuild. We will rebuild. We don't know how to bring our people back. We can't do that. All the people that the Islamic Republic kills, all the talent that is wasted, all the minds that leave, all the genius, all the education, all the people that they kill, everything that goes wasted, we don't know how to bring that back. But we know how to bring power plants back. We know how to do that because we have done that before. Before the Pahlavi dynasty, Iran had the Qajar dynasty, and Qajar dynasty was a really horrible dynasty in Iran. And by the end of the Qajar dynasty, Iran was at the edge of collapse. Like we had like extreme hunger. We had, the whole country was falling apart. And during the Pahlavi dynasty, not only did he save Iran and kept Iran together, both the Pahlavi kings, they built so much. They built so much infrastructure, so many factories, so many universities in such a short amount of time. So we have the history that we know that we can do that because we have done this before. So we will build it, but we will build even better than what we had. Right? Germany, President Trump is talking about a couple of power plants. After World War II, Germany lost all of its infrastructure. To say Germany was bankrupt, it's an understatement. Everything, like 70% of Germany's infrastructure, entirety of their infrastructure was basically completely turned into dust. And Germany, after World War II, Germany rebuilt, and built so much better than what they had before. I mean, a lot of people are like, well, Armin, they had the Marshall Plan. We have oil. We have oil and gas. The oil and gas that Iran has is so much more revenue than the money that the Americans gave to the Germans in the Marshall Plan for them to rebuild. We have the people and we have the experience. We also have people like, oh, Armin, like, but just Germans could do that. The Iranians can't do that. First of all, yes, they can. They can do better. We already have done that. We have the experience. We have seen that the Iranian people have built so much from nothing. So that is a lie. The Iranian people can build as much as the Germans did, and we don't even need a Marshall Plan because we have the revenue coming out of the ground. Mike, you're angry.
I absolutely agree. I think that it's absolutely true that their infrastructure. Like some say that they had more modern infrastructure because the infrastructure that Axis was working with was very old, and once all their factories got wiped out, the ones that were made had the latest tech. They had the latest and this one of the things, sadly but true, that most advances technology and production is war. When countries switch to a wartime economy, it advances their production a lot, and the one that is the most advanced tends to be the one that won. So once these people lost the war, they agree, we're going to change our ways, we're going to work with you. What they got was investment, and those investments came from people that had the most advanced technology when it came to energy, when it came to fabrication, when it came to many things. So what happened after the fall was a boom, and that's the reality. Remember Japan. Japan got hit by 2 nukes. Look at Japan now. It's one of the most modern nations. They do have some demographic problems, but that's very different problem than the problem of rising after a war. Like the problems they have now. I mean, they started about maybe 10, 20 years ago. Like they need a little bit of more of a demographic boom. That's not the same. It's a very different problem from being able to rise after a war. They rose very well.
And so can we, exactly. And then fleshy interloper, always looking at the strait, always looking at the tankers going through the Strait of Hormuz, gave us a super chat saying, whatever opens the strait. Fleshy interloper is very invested in the Strait of Hormuz, and he's watching it every single day, every single tanker. And here's a statement. Let me know if you, both of you, both Fleshy and Monkey, let me know if you agree with me. I don't think that anything can completely open the strait anymore other than regime change. Do you guys agree with that? Let me know in the chat as well.
Absolutely. Like if you want to keep that straight, you gotta get rid of the regime. Otherwise, it's gonna be a problem. I think Kuwait is very invested in it because they don't have a lot of out. It has to be through the strait. So I not Kuwait, Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, like they need that strait open. Iraq was the prime minister that was over there. When I looked at the map, they don't have a lot of out into that strait. So they gotta get all the oil out through there. Is probably their best bet, right? I'm guessing. And I think that's another reason that they're there in the US, they're invested. And I think it's the same for a lot of people. I think they're going to get sick of IRGC interference.
There is a land route. There is a pipeline from Iraq that goes through Syria and then goes to the Mediterranean that hasn't been functional for many years because when Assad was in power, Assad was a proxy of the Islamic Republic, and the Islamic Republic got Assad to shut down that pipeline. But now I think they're going to try to bring it back on to have more. I think they're gonna, the capacity of the pipelines are going to increase. Like Saudi Arabia is going to invest in that. Iraq and Syria are going to invest in that. UAE is going to expand its pipelines. But it is true that Iraq has only a tiny area where it has access to water. And that's why Kuwait is always in danger of being taken over by Iraq, because it always makes sense for Iraq to take over Kuwait because of how vulnerable they are with lack of access to the basically maritime trade. They have only a tiny bit of land, and they're very exposed. So, yeah.
The only thing I would add to that is last time didn't go too well for them when they did that. And this administration seems to be much more favorable to maybe not literally directly to Kuwaitis, but definitely to the US. And we have interest there. I also remember that you said that even with pipes, it takes a long time to build new routes, and the capacity is nowhere near as much as tankers. So that's why that also matters. That would be a long-term plan, 5-10 years to get those pipes, new ones in and old ones working to capacity, right? Jelani would work with him, though. I think he would.
If he has to hold his country together if he can. Fleshing Interloper with another super chat saying, I worked in electric sector. You can't target easily replace components with modern weapons. You can target easily replace components with modern weapons. Oh, okay.
So they could take out production for a while, but not permanently. Oh, he's talking about the power plants.
Oh, okay. Now I said what it's saying. So okay, this is a very good point Flesh Interloper is making. Okay, so there is a way to hit the power plants in a way that doesn't destroy them completely, but it turns them off, but in a way that is not it's destroyed completely, like only the parts that target easily replaceable components with modern weapons. But here's the problem, Flesh Interloper. If they do that, then the Islamic Republic will be able to bring them back on shortly as well. So it wouldn't be as devastating. It could be a good warning to them, as by the way. So you could hit the power plant in a way that shuts them down, but it's easily replaceable and bring them back on. But the problem with that is that it wouldn't be as damaging to the Islamic Republic because they could bring them back on as well. But it would serve as a really good warning to destroy only certain parts of the power plant without destroying it completely. That's a good point.
Well, you could hit substations. Like if you hit a substation, that's going to take a week to fix. You understand what I'm saying? You have to get those large capacitors. I don't even know if that's the right name for it in there. And that could take you can fix it, but it's going to take a week, and a week without power is a lot. But you're not destroying the system. It's fixable.
It's a good in between option as a warning to the Islamic Republic that look, we are actually serious.
Exactly.
Yeah. So President Trump here was talking about the naval blockade. I wanted to get your opinions on this as well, because he talks because Ali was frustrated yesterday when President Trump said the naval blockade was working very well. And then Ali was like, well, then why did you remove the naval blockade? And here's President Trump answering if he regrets removing the naval blockade.
Given how the Iranians have been behaving.
But by the way, guys, it's back on. So the naval blockade was on, and then President Trump removed it after the MOU was signed, and now it's back on. Now the question is, do you regret ever removing it? Shouldn't you just have kept the naval blockade throughout that time?
Given how the Iranians have been behaving, do you have any regrets about lifting the naval blockade or giving the sanctions waivers?
No, I gave them a chance. I wanted to give them a chance at making a deal. We had a deal 2 days ago. It was done. And then all of a sudden, they couldn't do it. They didn't like something about the deal. They couldn't do it. And they shot first, and that was a big mistake that they shot first because we have been knocking the hell out of them. They're very difficult people. 47 years we put up with it. The SS Cole, you go back all the way, thousands of people, thousands of Americans were killed, a lot of soldiers were killed. A lot of soldiers are walking around or not walking around. I mean, they've been so badly injured. The arms, the legs, the face, with the Soleimani, with the bomb. They call it the roadside bomb. Most people call it the roadside bomb. It's a disaster. And I killed him in my first administration. Had I not, it might be a different story today. He was a mad genius. He was probably a madman, but he was a general, and he had total control over the country. And I actually think the leaders of Iran were afraid of Soleimani. But I killed him. And by the way, with him went a very bad person also. They happened to be meeting each other at the airport. and a very bad person from Iraq happened to be a leader of Iraq happened to be killed in that same incident. So I don't know if I did you a favor or not. I've never asked you that question. You probably would know better than me. But no, I think that what we've done to Iran is we've taken away almost all of their military capability.
Okay. So when it comes to here's what people say with regards to President Trump removing the blockade and putting it back on. Some people criticize President Trump saying that he should have kept the blockade on the entire time. So there's two, in my opinion, there's two defense of what President Trump did. One that most people talk about, but another one that I think Monkey Ali and I have talked about, but I don't see many other people talking about it as much. The main defense that I hear is that President Trump should have given them a chance to show to the world that these people cannot be dealt with. Like he's gaining more legitimacy for going after them by demonstrating that, look, I give them a chance and it didn't work, right? That's the one that I hear the most, but which I disagree with. But I think people underestimate how important it was for the United States to let the oil flow, even if it's the Islamic Republic flow, come to the global markets. I know it's frustrating to hear that to flood the markets with oil, we had to allow the Islamic Republic's oil to be sold as well. I know that's frustrating, given that we know that a lot of that money is going to go to the Islamic Republic being able to defend itself. But it is what it is. It was necessary. It would be irresponsible for the Americans to allow all these countries to get that close to to critical levels of low oil reserves in every country, especially the United States. So that was opening the Strait of Hormuz by doing the MOU and removing the blockade was necessary, even if you don't like it. It was necessary. But I think those are the two reasons. What do you think, Venki?
Well, there's some other reasons that I could add. If you noticed, it's not the same ships that are out there. These ships that needed to be switched out. We can still chase ships. Like, just because we had a blockade there doesn't mean we can't chase down Shadow Fleet ships. I think we did in at least 2 occasions during the MOU that we went after a ship. I'm not absolutely sure, but I think it was specifically 2. So these were more suspected of carrying dual use things, not so much oil, which makes a big difference here. But we did have to rotate out those troops. And you have to understand, if you want to do economic fury, they have to be trying to get that money out. So maybe one of the plays is see where the money is going, trace it, find those people. Like, we don't know if the reason those people that got caught in Iraq got caught because when the money started flowing, people started noticing where it was flowing. Give Iraq a little ring, a little ding ding, and hello. Yeah, you got some money going your way. Probably to these people, you might want to check them out. Bang, bunch of arrests in Iraq. So you have to understand there are other operations happening that are not the blockade. Like what happened in Lebanon. Maybe we saw money was flowing there, started working with these people and say, look, we know the money is flowing here, here, and here, Lebanon. So are you going to work with us, or are you going to be our enemy here? You want to be our friend? You want to be our man? Oh, you want to be our friend? Okay, so you got to be friend of my brother over here, Israel, and the 3 of us are going to work together so that this money that's coming from this oil from Iran doesn't get to Hezbollah, and we're going to crush Hezbollah, the 3 of us together. That's on the Lebanon side, and then you have on the Iraqi side the operations we saw. So you have to understand that there's just many layers. There's many layers, and Iran is one point on a triangle. We have very bad triangles. We spoke of 2 of them yesterday. Another one is Iran, Russia, and China. We have to understand that there's a bigger map that's being played with here. And part of that map is ensuring that the energy that we get starts being friend-shored and onshore. That's why I talked yesterday about Brazil ramping up production. And they're like kind of friendly, kind of like, iffy. But Argentina is also ramping up production. I had 2 more yesterday. I don't remember. One of them was USA. Ramping up production. I'm sure Canada is ramping up production. So as long as we have ramping up of production everywhere else on Earth, there may be like a good offset. So this is not like we look at the strait like it's like the only thing that's happening on Earth, and we can't do that. We can't do that about a blockade because there's many aspects to this.
Okay, let me see. You start this comment. You wanted to respond to it?
Yes, he's probably talking about the parts that we can easily replace them, but they can't. So we can take out the power plants without destroying them permanently. I think that was the larger point being made. Like if we wanted to take them out in a way that they can't get them back out up, but we
But do you want
can.
to give the context to the people who don't know what you're like? Okay, so
This is from an
before,
earlier comment.
yeah.
On that
So
earlier comment, we were discussing taking out power plants. Can we take out the power plants? Fleshy Interloper was telling us that he kind of worked in this field and that there are
yeah.
parts that can't be hit that are hard for them to replace, but easy for us to replace, is what I'm gathering
Yeah.
context from the previous and this comment.
All right, sounds good. We just got a new update. I'm not going to play this video. I'll just read you what's happening. This is the Islamic Republic's deputy foreign minister. He's commenting on the U.S. Saying that they're going to be striking power plants and bridges. He's responding to it, saying wherever the Americans strike, our armed forces will respond in the same manner. This strategy by Washington has already failed once. So he's basically the Islamic Republic foreign ministry is saying that if they hit our power plants, we're going to go after the power plants. In my translation of this is that they're going to go after power plants in the Arab countries around the Persian Gulf, or maybe their oil infrastructure, basically infrastructure. That's what he's warning.
Have they ever done that successfully?
They haven't heavily targeted they have targeted some oil infrastructure just a tiny bit, but they haven't rained missiles on them like they do sometimes with US bases. The thing is that there's not as much defending, not as massively, but yes, but not
one
like heavily.
is all I can remember. One, I think it was in UAE, but only one power plant that I can remember.
Nope. I think they're going to go after oil infrastructure, and they have done that, and it has been, some of them has hit, not a lot, but some.
All right.
I mean the most famous, by the way, if we could, but this started years before with Aramco, like if you guys remember, like this whole started with in President Trump's first term, when the Islamic Republic hit Saudi Aramco energy infrastructure with a drone. Back in the day, this whole started with that, so that was successful, and that was a long time ago. Anyways, so President Trump, another couple, let me actually close these other ones. So this goes back to what you were saying about these people, the nature of these people, and whether or not you could actually deal with them. And also, also this goes back to President Trump in back in the 80s, knowing, having the strategy of taking Kharg Island, right? So just wanted to see, because President Trump, a lot of people say President Trump understands the Islamic Republic. He has been talking about it since the 80s, right? But then some other people push back, are like, well, if he does, then why is he still talking about dealing with them? So let's play this video
quickly.
You posted today on True Social comments that you made back in 1988 about Kharg Island. And at the time you said, one bullet shot at one of our men or ships, and I'd do a number on Kharg Island, I'd go in and take it.
Yeah.
Do you still intend to take Kharg Island?
So I can't say that to you, because if I did, it would be foolish, right? But it'd be nice to make a little headlines, but it would be foolish. But I'll tell you about Kharg Island. So we've already...
Are you ruling out a ground campaign in a limited capacity?
I don't want to say that either, but I would say no if I thought it was appropriate. It's like sometimes you need a ground campaign, but we have other people that will do the ground campaign for us. But we already hit Kharg Island, as you know, twice, even 3 times. I said, hit everything but the oil. Just leave that little area from 25 yards out. Leave that little area. Don't touch the oil, because I don't want that in terms of the world economy. It's a chunk of the world economy. Quickly.
You posted today on True Social comments.
So what do you think about that?
Look, it sounds good. Like, you know what? It sounds like things are gonna happen. I don't know what to tell you, man. Like when he says other people are gonna do that, I don't know who those people would be. Like, who would you entrust, right? Like, if you had to pick, not from Iran, not from inside Iran, who are you gonna pick? You can't pick separatists.
know.
That's stupid.
I don't think anybody else has this capability to do anything like this.
Like, who
President
has
Trump,
large ground forces near?
nobody.
Nobody.
You
Okay, so that's a
United
problem.
only United States.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't
Well,
know what other people is.
other people could be shipped in, flown in. I have to analyze this. I can't off the top of my head make sense of this. Like, you can have some outside forces come in, but you'd have to put a
Guys,
king on the table, and putting a king on the table is extremely dangerous. I don't know how else you could do it. You could have an announcement that you support this, but I don't see any move that can be made without having a king on the table.
so look at this. People are saying, first of all, Saudi, come on, guys. Like, what do you mean Saudis? Saudis
No.
can't even deal with the Houthis. So no, not the Saudi.
The Saudis get their troops
you-
from Pakistan or something, right?
Saudis don't have any. Saudis just have some air force and missiles, and they don't even know how to use them. They have nothing. Okay, some people are saying Iraqi Kurds and Syrians. Kurds are so low in number, and they're far, like they're the Kurdish separatists. If you're talking about, they're so far away from this area. Like they could basically You're talking about Western Iran. No, not Kharg Island. So no, Syrians can't even deal with holding their country together right now. Syrians need to focus. The Syrian army needs to focus on not holding Syria together, and that would be the worst thing that they could do, because Syrians' main priority right now is to keep the Islamic Republic out of Syria. If they get involved in anything like this, then the Islamic Republic will move into Syria like they have never done before. So Syrians would not be interested in that at all. Iraqis will not be interested in it as well, because Iraqis are right now very much motivated to push in a situation where both the Islamic Republic and United States is leaving Iraq militarily, and United States is entering Iraq economically. That's what they're pushing for. They have no appetite to get involved in anything like this. So none of those work.
Yeah, but do they have a military, like infantry?
The military is weak. The main armed forces in Iraq are so is kind of like is basically loyal to the Islamic Republic. It's like Hash al-Shabi, Kataib, stuff like that. So
Okay.
So yeah. So main
That would just be reinforcements for IRGC.
Yeah. So we have, if Iraq gets involved, it will get involved. A lot of the armed forces that will get involved from Iraq will be on the Islamic Republic side.
I don't see, like, unless there's a hidden force.
Yes, gens maybe.
No.
No.
The one thing I'm thinking about is the one thing I don't want to say too loud because it puts them in danger, and I'm not talking about the people.
Somebody's saying, can Israel hold it? Israel doesn't have the amphibious ability. Amphibious, like, they don't have USS Boxer. They don't have Israel has the ground force of Israel is good for operations in Gaza and in Lebanon. It's not the same. They don't have the same numbers and the same ability and the same equipment to operate like this so far away from their borders. And at that, they do special operations far away from home and in a very targeted level, and they're very good at that. But when it comes to ground invasion, unless I'm wrong about this, they don't have that ability to go and hold an island.
I don't think that's politically even anywhere near their appetite. I don't think anybody would want that. But not Israel, not any of the Persian Gulf allies. That would just ruin any future peace deals.
So Ukraine, when Ukraine gets involved in the Middle East, they send a few soldiers to train the local population, but they equip people with drones and train them like they did in Syria. They don't send a lot of soldiers there. They send a few for training purposes, and they equip them with drones.
Guys,
they
we're talking
they
about
need-
holding. We're talking about holding. We're not talking about attacking. We're talking about controlling. You need humans there, and you need humans who can defend themselves. So this is like physical. What boots on the ground do we need? That's the conversation we're having here.
Yeah, and Ukrainian need their manpower to fight against Putin, right? If they get involved somewhere else, is because they're selling their drones and their services to train and equip the local population there, and they get paid for it, and they use that revenue to fight against Russia. But they can't afford to move a lot of manpower, and this will require a lot of manpower, fighters on the ground, and Ukraine needs every single one of them, like back at home fighting against Russia.
I do understand that
Um,
we are brainstorming, so we're kind of throwing everything at the wall to see what
Yes.
sticks. So it's appreciate the effort.
Yes. We got a super chat by Don saying, "What if they've been training outside Iranians who are willing to fight? That's why we been buying time." So here's the thing: we would notice that if that was happening, because the number of people you need is to do something like that is very high, and you can't do that at that level without it being found out. That would leak. An operation at that level, at that uh, scale, would leak. If it's like a special op, like a group of elites that they're training to go in and do something and come out, you would be able to keep that hidden. But if you're like training tens of thousands of people to go and hold an island, that would get leaked. We would know about that. Like there's no way to explain like tens of thousands of Iranians outside of Iran just not showing up for work all of a sudden, like not showing up to their office, not showing up to the gym. Their moms and fathers like, where's my son? Why are they not? I'm seeing like it's not like hiding tens of thousands of Iranians all of a sudden switching their lifestyle and doing something else. That would be impossible. And thank you for the super chat.
I start a comment there.
Okay, let me see. There you go. You want to read that, Sean?
Can't think about anybody. Greenland, yes, Greenland. Greenland is coming to save the day. Greenland is coming.
Yes.
I'm bringing them in. Yeah, she's kidding.
Yes.
Sean is kidding. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Sean. Yes, Greenland. Canada. I mean, that would be even less likely. Okay, sure. Okay, so we don't know who he's referring to. Any guesses, Monkey? What you want to guess? Do you have any guesses?
I'll put it out there because we've kind of talked about it. The only way that I would do this if I had whole battalions loyal to His Royal Highness. If I had Artesh and I had Artesh at high levels, like people don't know, but we've secretly been communicating with them for a very long time, and people just don't know because we told everybody, look, stop making videos, shut the fuck up, stay in contact, and we'll see how this goes. At the right time, you're gonna get armed from us, not them, and you're gonna defend the people, but don't fucking turn on the people because this is your chance to fucking redeem yourselves and become what you were always supposed to be. That's the only if that's the only play I can see. That's the only armed military that's not us, is not coming from an outside and would try to break the integrity of the borders, that has a history that goes before the IRGC, that can recuperate their image and become like literal saviors if enough of the leadership there and enough of the low-level infantry is willing to be down, and we've secretly been doing that for a long time. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. But I'm not putting this in the that's what's happening column. I'm putting this in the you're not giving me a whole lot of options here column. So maybe.
I think is this super chat by Zipgun, and basically kind of what you're saying. So Zipgun saying, do you think that there is a sufficient number of loyal IRGC to create the need for a large force to hold territory? Oh, what do you think about this?
The only problem with the IRGC is not their number as far as military on military, it's the number of weapons they control. Like if you could take away their toys, they're not that big. That's my estimate when you like, especially loyal. Like look at that operate loyal RRGC to create the need for a large force to create territory. If it's IRGC versus Artesh and we're arming Artesh, I don't see IRGC with our intelligence, our airstrike capabilities, our satellite capabilities, our air, like, you understand what I mean? Our drone support, our arming specific battalions, that would be very hard. If Artesh became like the hero of the day and, swore allegiance to the transitional government under Prince Reza, that's the only move I can think of. That's literally the only move I can think of that makes sense and checks all the boxes. But I'm not trying to put out there, oh yeah, this is what's going to happen. This is like, look, you got me up against the wall. If I got to pick one, that's the one I'm picking.
So let me tell you something. Right now, there is enough IRGC to be able to cause significant risk to American or any other soldiers who want to occupy Kharg Island, right? And the way that they will cause that risk is not by showing up there and fighting face to face with the Americans. If they do that, that would be really good for the Americans because they will basically get rid of them within minutes, right? That would be a suicide. Like every single American soldier would be able to take 101 of these people out easily, not just because they're more elite, but also because of the technology that they have. It would be like sending soldiers to fight the Islamic Republic soldiers to fight head to head with American soldiers is just Islamic Republic just sending their soldiers to get slaughtered, right? That would be so easy for the Americans to take care of. The thing, but what they do, what the Islamic Republic does that will cause significant risk to the Americans is just shower missiles and drones, fiber drones and everything else that they have on them, right? That is harder to defend against, especially because you're not going to have like the Patriot or Thought system. They're not going to be able to bring that with them to the island, right? And even if they do, that's even more dangerous because while you're moving it, then such an expensive system is now could be target before you actually install it, right? So that is the difficulty. That is the danger here. And there are enough IRGC people to operate drones and missiles, launch missiles, when the Americans get close, right? Right now, the reasons why Americans are safe is because they're far away and they're shooting, they're targeting the Islamic Republic with missiles from a safe distance, right? And if you want to bring American soldiers closer, you have to first get rid of all of these IRGC launching sites, and also you need to blind them completely, taking out all their towers and radars. You need to do more. You probably need like weeks of operations in not just southern Iran but a little bit into the middle of Iran to be able to clear this completely for the American soldiers. Not completely, but to the point that is manageable. But however, what I can report to you is that what we're seeing, and this is something you're not going to hear anywhere else, but we're noticing this, is that more IRGC fighters are now complaining that our jobs, we're not getting paid enough, and the payments are delayed, and a lot of them are losing faith in the Islamic Republic, but also the risk of their jobs is too high. Like they think like their commanders are just too, they basically move them is too easy, is too, they're showing no care for their soldiers. Like they're noticing how worthless their lives are. Like their military commander are asking them to go to do very dangerous stuff without it having that much return. Like, for example, we saw in Telegram, one of these soldiers was complaining that my commander just told me to go and shoot at these planes, knowing that none of them is going to hit an F-35. And I'm there sitting and easily, like, he's not going to do it. He's not going to go and put himself at risk, but I'm shooting at these F-35s. He knows it, and I know it, that none of this will even reach it. But the F-35 can reach me, but I can't reach it. So I'm just sitting there, and they care so little for our lives that they just put us there doing useless things, and they do nothing to try to protect us from dying, right? And more of them are talking about this. So in that kind of an environment, it's pretty reasonable to assume that there's a lot of defections. The infighting between different regime officials means these soldiers think that they're fighting for something that is not even a just cause, because the Islamic Republic is not, the supreme leader is not there. And are we even on the right side? If there's so much infighting between the Islamic Republic, are we even doing something that is right? Like, I don't know anymore, right? I'm not getting paid and my life is being put at risk. So many of these people are going to defect. One thing that I think that the United States should do, that might sound very cruel, but I think it will be very effective, is to target these soldiers at home, so that they know that even if they're not in the field, just by the fact that they are part of the IRGC and fighting for the IRGC, they might get targeted anywhere they are. They might get targeted even when they're not in the battlefield, unless they come and register in this platform by Princess of Pahlavi. So basically, there needs to be an understanding that if you are fighting for IRGC, you are going to be a target wherever you are. And there needs to be, even if you make an example of low ranking, because some of these soldiers think like, oh, well, I'm low ranking, I'm not going to get targeted. High ranking people are going to get targeted. But if you put out a few examples of low ranking IRGC soldiers getting targeted while they're not at the launchers, while they're at home or shopping or just in their car doing their daily things, then I think that would astronomically increase the number of defections, because most of these people don't want to die, unlike what they kind of tell you on Islamic Republic media, that, oh, these people are willing to die. These people don't want to die. And if they see that the Americans and Israelis are hunting them anywhere, they will go and do whatever they need to get the Americans off their back. If they have to go register to a website saying like, you know what, I'm not going to fight for the Islamic Republic anymore, sorry, please spare me, that will cause, if the Americans and Israelis do that, that will cause mass defections, mass number of defections. What do you think about that? Is that
I think that's a terrible idea. You can't hit these people at home. You can hit them on the way home. Like if he left the launcher and he gets in his car, hit him in his car. But you hit him at his home and he has 3 kids and a wife, we're gonna be watching those 3 kids and that wife for 6 months.
Okay.
Like we would maybe he got out the car, out the launcher, or out of the anti-air turret, and got in his car, and you still got him in his car. That I support. But the collateral damage has to be kept at a minimum, because we're still hearing about the Minab school. That's my only pushback. And
Can I
the
make an
life lover
adjustment?
thing.
One adjustment. In my head, I assumed a lot of these people are single incels that are living home alone. But yes, if they're living with their family, hit them on their way to work or somewhere else. But
Hit them in the car, hit them on the motorcycle, wherever they're going, like on a transport truck. If there's a transport truck with like 5 of them, sure, hit that thing. But I would avoid at home because of collateral damage. You might hit the house next door, because it's like 10 feet away, 20 feet away. So I would avoid that. The other thing is the life lover thing. Like these people, they may not be life lover. They might literally not be life lover. That doesn't mean you want your life wasted. And if you know your AA, your anti-air flak gun, it's sending bullets up there, and the bullets are exploding in the air, right? But they're nowhere near the height that can do anything. You know, you're just making yourself a show for locals and a big fat target. So just because you're not a life lover doesn't mean you want to waste your life. And I think that's what's demoralizing, not just because some of them lie about not being a life lover, also because they don't want their life wasted, even if they aren't a life lover.
Yeah, to your point, actually, that's interesting that you say that, because I do see comments of some of them saying, you know what, I want to be I'm willing to be a martyr, but not for this regime. Not for this Jewish Islamic Republic, not for this regime that has been taken over by Zionist Jews, like talking about Ghalibaf. Like, that's not what I want to die for. I want to die for Islam. I don't want to die for holding on this regime that has been infiltrated by Jews. That's what some of them are thinking.
Well, look, I accept that, but like even operationally, even if you are like even if you're wearing a suicide vest, you don't want to blow yourself up where there's nobody else.
Right.
You understand what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
exactly.
Like you don't want
Yes.
to die while being ineffective. Like
Yeah.
I
By the
don't
way,
suggest that
YouTube,
kind of
just to
vest
be
for
clear,
anyone.
YouTube AI, I don't know how stupid you are, if you understand what we're talking about. We're against terrorism. We're against people dying for no reason or people going out and getting martyred for Islam or stuff. We're just analyzing the thought process of regime fighters. Okay, so cool. We're cool. We're cool with that. Please do not strike us down. We're just discussing that. Oh my god. All right.
Yeah,
We
you
have
don't
to
want to
be
die with
very
no effect. That's the larger point.
yes. Okay. And then we have Shauna with a super chat. This is actually this is something I didn't consider. The forces that we're talking about here. We should have considered this option. I don't know how I didn't see this. You're right, Shauna. Shauna is saying maybe Elon invented a time machine, and it's mercenaries from the British Royal Navy from the 1890s. Yeah, that's a good point, Monkey. Why didn't
Now,
we think
here's
of
why
that?
it's so intelligent, because you would want to go after shipwrecks because they're all assumed dead. So if you get them out of the water, you're not really
Right.
affecting the timeline. They weren't gonna survive, right? And nobody had to find
Oh,
them because no one was even looking. So that way you do get personnel, but you get personnel without affecting the timeline. You don't want to get somebody that was gonna affect the timeline, and you also don't
okay.
want to affect burials and all these things that might change people's outlook on life. You don't want to check the timeline. So this is a very intelligent way to do it. You go after shipwrecks, and you go after people that are presumed dead. This is a great plan.
Yeah, there's we should try to amplify this so that more people consider it. Thank you, Shana. Great strategy. Veteran Huffman is saying, oh, so this context for this is in regards to me saying that tens of thousands of Iranians that are probably not being trained to go out and hold Kharg Island, because something like that would be leaked and it would be impossible to do it in a way that nobody would find out, right? So that's what I was suggesting. And Veteran Hoffman is responding saying it's actually not impossible, Armin. Think about the KGB sleeper cells from the 59s to the 70s. They were programmed to be normal Americans, but once activated they became families of Soviet agents assets. Okay, but Veteran Hoffman, that proves my point, because first of all, that is special operations. That is not invading and holding an island. Okay, so that is not like a ground force at the scale that we're talking about. That I'm pretty sure that already exists in Iran. There are many people like that working not just as normal citizens, but within the regime, that are sleeper cells of Mossad. Like at every meeting, in the parliament, in the office of the supreme leadership, at the highest levels of IRGC, we already have a lot of that within the Islamic Republic for sure. Like that would be the equivalent of what you're talking about. But what we're talking about is a ground force, an invading army of tens of thousands of people being launched upon the southern islands of Iran. So that to do that without it getting noticed by tens of thousands of Iranians in Europe and North America, that it would be difficult to pull off, if not impossible.
Look, what I would comment on this is that when we look at Kharg Island, we're always looking at it as an alone thing. Like, of course, we would devastate all targets before we went in. Of course, those attacks might reach all the way to Tehran and beyond before we went into Kharg Island. We can't make the assumption, no, they're going to go in with what they got right now. I seriously doubt that, right? And what we're talking about here is also disruption operations. So while you're taking Kharg Island, you're having your Artesh buddies pop up, the ones that are loyal, have them pop up. Every sleeper cell you have, you activate them. So they're not just dealing with trying to Kharg Island. They're so busy trying to keep one of their towns in check that they don't even care about Kharg Island, because they can't keep things inside the towns and the cities together. If you have that kind of chaos where there's so many things happening at the same time that you don't even care about Carg Island, that would be the way to take it. Like have cells activating, any battalion you have inside from Artesh or whatever, activated too. You would have start having coordinations with with the rebellion, with the resistance. So they maybe if they are around, you say, hey, stay alert, stay alive, but stuff is happening. Have some coordination so their life is not wasted. When you have that many things happening at the same time, then you can like make things happen.
Yeah, that would be epic, by the way. And Roman Viking with a super chat saying, "Isn't the state merely an institution which enforces your rights in your stead? No state should be allowed more action than its citizens already have." Oh, you're talking about the minimalist government? That the government is mostly focusing on just in protecting your rights. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm not. That's not what a state necessarily is, but that's what a state should be, in my opinion. Yes, that would be an ideal state. That's not every state, but that is an ideal state. I do agree with that.
That includes the right to commerce. So that doesn't mean that you have to stay within your border. You may have to wage a war somewhere or defend yourself
Yes.
somewhere, because it doesn't that you can't take that to mean, oh, I have to be an isolationist.
True. No, yeah, true. Because to protect your rights, your state needs to create an environment for you to feel safe, to do commerce, to do trade with the rest of the world. That is a lot of activity. Protecting your rights requires a lot of activity, but it also means that you should stop doing a lot of other things. Thank you so much, Roman Viking, for the super chat. Felicia Interloper with the super chat saying, "Defection needs trigger, or they will just grumble." Yeah, the trigger could be them seeing. The trigger could be exactly what Monkey and I were discussing, noticing that even the lower rank people are being targeted randomly at different times just for being in the IRGC. I think that would be a good trigger.
And their commanders, basically wasting their lives.
Exactly. Which that is automatically happening. But yeah, the Americans could add fire to that fuel by just targeting these people. You don't even need to do it a lot. You just need to get the story out there. You could get this done with making examples out of 10 lower ranking people would put the fear in these people's heart. Like hundreds of thousands of IRGC fighters will start pissing their pants every single night if you just put out the news that 10 of them were targeted while they were not in the battlefield.
That would also open them up to not know if it's an inside or an outside force if that happens. Like, okay,
That's a
so
good
we
point.
did we if we do 10 and then well, why are there 15 of these happening? Ha ha ha. We're not going to tell them we only did 10. We're going to let them pick whatever they want.
Interesting. Yeah. Zip Gun with a super chat saying the big problem with U.S. invasion is political will. Even as few as 8 U.S. deaths are a big deal in the U.S. Yeah, this is completely true, and for good reason, because American lives matter to Americans, and as it should. But this is also a limitation of democracies, and it's a good limitation to have, right? So United States has more political limitation than military limitation. And it might seem like a bug in the system, but long term it's a feature. A country that values human life and values other Americans valuing the lives of their soldier, in the short term these will turn into some self-imposed limitations, but in the long term it turns you into a stronger, more prosperous country that could afford a bigger military. But yes, political capital is a bigger limitation in the United States than military capital.
I would add to that sword cuts both ways. That's a double-edged sword, because if you kill 8 U.S. members, they may not say, "Oh, we have to turn back." We may say, "Oh, now we need revenge. Now we must respond. We must. If they killed 8, we must kill 80." Like that's not, that political will doesn't always cut the way you think. I mean, Democrats will every time say, "Oh, we don't care about life," usually, but today we really care about lives, and that's too many U.S. American soldiers that I always talk shit about because I'm a Democrat and I hate our military. But now that it's convenient for my virtue signaling, I'm gonna say this is too much loss. And some people might buy it, a lot won't, right? But there's the other side that say, no, now we got to get them back. So you know, it is a big deal. Like, you literally use the right words. It's a big deal, but it cuts both ways.
Yeah, that's a good point. Great point, Monkey. And you want to read this another super chat by AP Moto Arts, because I think this is more up your field.
Okay, FYI, lead time for Siemens industrial transformers is 30 to 50 weeks. Power plant day yield at least 9 months in the dark foil revolution. Yeah, like the transformers are like huge capacitors and huge. Yeah, well, they I think some of them, like, these are parts. He's talking about parts in a power plant and in substations that you would need to exchange to make the power plant run. They won't destroy your system, but what it takes to exchange these parts, what it takes to get them in, what it takes to manufacture them. I don't even know if they can manufacture them themselves. I don't know if they have that capacity, but even to manufacture it, it takes a long time. So unless they have a whole bunch of them in storage, you hit those, and you hit those often enough, that is a problem.
Okay, let me. Ooh, wow, the next video is big deal. So let me actually do this last super chat here, and then I'll go to this next video. Veteran Hoffman saying, "Oh, you were just talking about Kharg Island. My bad. I thought you were talking about the Iranian mainland. My mistake. Oh no, no worries. You know, every time we say something, it gives us an excuse to talk about the details of this. So don't apologize. We." You know, we appreciate every time you bring a topic, even if we have a miscommunication, which is probably my fault. It is a great opportunity for us to get into more nuance and more detail. So, no apologies, and thank you so much for the super chat.
I think we did discuss like larger points of how an operation would go down. So I think he's still on point about the
Yes.
discussion. Like we discussed different, like only card, maybe the whole place. How would that play out in a larger scale? Like we've touched on all the topics, and all your input is appreciated. Thank you very much. Hit the like and leave a comment too, because sometimes you don't see this live. So to the people of the future that catch this later, leave a comment. We'd love to hear from you.
Okay, look at this. President Trump is asked here. I don't know. Have you seen this? I haven't seen this video. He's asked here about when he made the remarks for the Iranian people to come and take their own destiny and come into the streets and stuff. He's going to be asking him, when you made that comment, did you think regime change is possible? So I haven't seen this video. This is big deal. Let's see how President Trump responds to this. Hold on. This is, oh my God. Hold on. Let's go.
On the first night of Operation Epic Fury, you addressed the world and the Iranian people directly. You said to them, when we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take. America is backing you with overwhelming strength. Do you still believe the Iranian people are capable of taking over their government?
I think they're afraid. They're being shot.
When you made those remarks,
Yeah.
did you believe regime change was possible at that time?
Yeah, I did. If they had guns, if they had weapons, I had no idea that they would be willing to kill 52,000 or even any people.
On the first
Wow. What do you think, Monkey, about that statement? He said, I had no idea that the Iranian regime would be willing to kill 52,000 or even any people.
Well, I think, like, I don't, oh my God, how can I put this? He should know. Like, what are we talking about? They've done this before. Like, what happened? Like, remember that time that girl got killed for not wearing the hijab, and there was a big thing about that. Like, you know, I think at that time he didn't think they would be that willing to do that, and maybe didn't expect that many people to go out. Like, he didn't expect that at that time. But yeah, of course they do that. They've done that many times. Like, just Well, I'm very sorry to the people of Iran. I don't remember the name of the young woman that had
Massa.
okay, so
Massa
that
Amini?
was a large that turned into a large like, well, not a large but a movement and a bit of an uprising, and that led to many deaths. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, there were many before that. That was one of many. Like, these things happen like almost cyclically every few years, right?
Yes.
Okay,
There were many big ones before it as well.
so like any sober analysis of what the regime is capable of, would know that, right? Maybe the scale is something that's different. Maybe he thought this time was different, but this is me steel manning. Like, in my heart, I'm gonna say, of course you fucking knew. Or, like, if you didn't know, you're a fucking dumbass. Of course you know, right? And you guys know, he's the best president I ever had. Like, I think he's a great president, but sometimes the way he speaks, I don't understand where he's going with this, because he should fucking know. He's the president. He should, like you should know about what happened in the previous protest. You hate this regime and have hated it for a long time. The reason he said what he said in 1988, because he's pissed because of the way these people treat people. So it's like, people can see the significance in seeing regime shame in this and that, and I'm like, okay, that's fine, but the way you're wording this, I don't get it.
If he is, some people in the chat are saying, like, what, guys, of course he already knew. Okay, like, he knew. If he did knew, what would be the point of saying I didn't know? Because I understand, because I understand not knowing that the Islamic Republic would kill 52,000 people.
Exactly.
More than 52,000. I understand that, but when he says or any amount of people, obviously he knew that the Islamic Republic kills people.
I'm
but what
sorry.
would you-
I'm going to ask you for a big favor. Can we run it back to the, like, I want to hear
Yes.
it again, because maybe I'm hearing
Of
wrong.
course. Yeah, maybe that's a good point. That's a good call. Let's listen to it again.
On the first night of Operation Epic
By the
Fury,
way-
you addressed
By the way, guys, this clip was cut. Like, if you think I am, this is a misrepresentation. This is posted by the interviewer himself, Trey Yingst. Okay, so don't think like I'm being dishonest with the editing here. Okay, so that's good.
On the first night of Operation Epic Fury, you addressed the world and the Iranian people directly. You said to them, when we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take. America is backing you with overwhelming strength. Do you still believe the Iranian people are capable of taking over their government?
I think they're afraid. They're being shot.
When you made those remarks,
Yeah.
did you believe regime change was possible at that time?
Yeah, I did. If they had guns, if they had weapons, I had no idea that they would be willing to kill 52,000 or even any people.
Okay, there you go, Monkey.
Look, there's some things there in the edit that make me think it's not deceptive, but I'm not getting because did you see that there are cuts in this, right? So in one point, he's talking about, he clearly said, when we finish, which means if you go out into the streets before we finish, we won't be able to help you, right? So this is something that got lost in translation, I think. Because it's not the same to say when we finish, take over, then go out, take over right now. And when you cut to the part where they're talking specifically about the 52,000, like right where it starts there, I'm seeing some cuts that I don't understand. I kind of want to see the full interview because the statement is not making sense to me. Like, it's just literally not making sense to me. And I think there's something lost because, look, I love the guy. I think he's a good guy. I don't think he's perfect by any means, but I know he rambles a little. And I don't know if they cut him when he goes off into another, like he could have, never would have happened. They never would have gotten this far without the JCPOA. Obama was about, like, I don't know if he went off on a tangent and they could cut that part and they got back on the topic. And then he says, I never would have. Like, I want to kind of watch the full interview because the dude rambles. The dude rambles a lot. He has his favorite topic points that he goes on, and I don't want to steal man or straw man. I think I gotta see the full interview because this doesn't make any fucking sense to me for him to fucking say that. Like he could be just like kind of like riffing, and then you say some things in an interview that you don't mean. Like I never like maybe he said I never thought they would kill that many, and he said any. You understand what I'm saying? Many and any is very close. Like I don't know. Like I can't make sense of it. Like I'm racking my brain here, but I'm just a monkey. So y'all gotta be patient with me.
Okay, I'm trying to find the full version, so make sure we're not taking the president out of context. I don't know why.
Sometimes we do things in editing. Well, not we, but sometimes things are done in editing that are not done to skew the perspective or what's being said, but it's done for time and does kind of maintain the flow, but when the full context makes more sense, and I just don't know. And it's I'm kind of nitpicking. I'm kind of nitpicking on the broader topics he's talking about. Like, did he know? Didn't he know? What do you mean any? Like, okay, maybe I am nitpicking, but I got that kind of brain that just it's kind of like it's an itch inside my skull that I want to scratch and I can't.
It's weird because the clip. Okay. Because I found a longer version of this, but it doesn't have this segment in there. I'm looking in the
like it was
transcript.
spliced in.
Like I'm looking, like this is a 10-minute video, okay, but I'm trying to find this segment on it, and when I'm looking at the transcript, so for example, if I search for gun, no results found, so I can't find that segment. Okay, I'll find it later. I just want to address this. Somebody saying monkey. President Trump has been saying this since the 80s. A monkey knows. We played it. No, like I think people are telling you. I think people are trying to tell you like President Trump knows. Yeah, we know that he knows. That's why we're trying to figure out what he's saying here.
That's why I don't understand, because I know he knows.
Yes.
And I know he's been talking about it forever.
Yes. So that's a bit confusing. We need to find that in full context and see if it makes more sense in more context, right? Here's a part that he talks about the Islamic Republic lying all the time, which is, let me see. I haven't watched this part. Let's watch this.
Was there a specific piece of intelligence that made you decide to launch this operation?
Well, it was specific in the sense that it just never stops, and they're going to go forward, and they wanted a nuclear weapon. We knew they wanted a nuclear weapon. If they have a nuclear weapon, Israel wouldn't be here. Look,
they said they didn't want a nuclear weapon.
Well, they say that. Everything they say is a lie. They lie. I've never seen anything like it. They also come out and they'll tell you we never discussed nuclear, and we're in a room for 5 hours. That's all we discussed. And they'll walk out and say, nuclear was not discussed. Everything was discussed ad nauseum. They were going to have a nuclear weapon within 2 weeks. Had we not done the B-2 bombers, had we not bombed their nuclear sites, their 3 nuclear sites, and there's another one we're looking at right now, as you know.
Was there a specific piece of
So yeah, this is good. I mean, he says they lie all the time, they say, but I mean, the obvious conclusion from this is that if they lie all the time, that means that they can never be trusted. If they could never be trusted, that means that they cannot be negotiated with, because anything you sign with them, they're going to at some point violate it, right? Is that the natural conclusion from the fact that they always lie?
I want to go back to what I said before. He should tell them, don't talk to me, talk to your TV. When you say on your TV that you want a deal, and when you say on your TV that nuclear is on the table and that you're going to give me back the dust, say that on your TV. Then I'll believe you want a deal, because you come over here, you schmooze and you talk and you agree to everything, and then you go out there and you say something different. So I'm not going to even believe that you're going to deal. I'm going to believe you're a liar until you tell the whole planet that you are willing to give up the nuclear dust, until you tell the whole planet that you're giving up on your nuclear addition. And if you can't do that, and the war ain't stopping.
You know, as soon as you made that recommendation, the White House asked for that, but then they didn't push for it. Like the Islamic Republic did not do that. Like they should basically make that a condition for anything else. Like you saw that the day that you said that this is what what President Trump should do, the day after it, they demanded exactly what you recommended. But now they're not talking about it anymore. I think you're so right on that. That's what they should be doubling down on.
I mean, that this should be a point that gets brought up more. They don't got to say it every day, but they should bring it up once in a while. And I think people like Mark Levin should point that out. People like that got a little bit of reach. I'm sure Lindsey Graham would have pointed that out. Like, there's people out there that I would love to see point this out. Like, don't if they are gonna lie in the back room, let them start the negotiation in the front room. Let them in the front room on their TV station say, look, we're going to negotiate a deal. Look, we're going to let them take the dust. And if they're not willing to do that, then fuck them.
Great point. And oh yeah, Cleo is saying Monkey is only 5 subs away from 670. So guys, I'm gonna put Monkey's YouTube channel in the chat. Go make sure, like, we're trying to get him to 1,000 so he could get monetized. So thank you for that reminder. I appreciate you guys.
Appreciate that.
The link is in the chat. And okay, let me go now to the next. Okay, this one is about the Minob. I haven't seen President Trump address the Minob school for a while, ever since, like, so this is going to, I haven't watched this, but this is whatever he says here is good. Wow, look at oh my god.
Yeah, he's pretty surprised. His eyes are about to fall out of his head right there.
Oh my god. All right, so let's see what President Trump says about Minob.
Democrats released a letter calling on your administration to unveil the findings of the investigation into a strike that killed more than 100 children on the first day of the war. Will you commit to releasing the findings of this investigation?
Well, I'd have to speak to the generals that are doing because we mostly have generals. You know, I don't think anybody's going to ever be able to say what happened there.
There are images from this site that show fragments that appear to be from U.S. Tomahawk missiles. Is it possible that old intelligence or a mistake during a very active time in the war led to this event?
It is, but it's also possible that those images that you have are AI generated. Now, I know we're waiting for a conclusive report. I don't think there can be a conclusive report.
Will you release the report
missiles,
when it is finished?
I guess so. I mean, I have to ask the military people. There might be a reason why they can't.
During the interview, the president had a very clear message for the Iranian regime.
Well, let's focus on the Minob part first. What do you think about that answer?
Well, I think the first thing he said and the last thing he said is the most important. Like the report is still with the generals. I have to talk to the military before I release it, right? Those are the two most important parts. What does that mean? That anything he's saying in between that, he's guessing, right? He's saying, I don't have a conclusive report. He probably has seen images, he's seen pieces of the report, but there's no conclusion yet. So he's basically saying, look, you know, things happen. I don't know what's going on here. They might be full of shit. I don't know. They might have. He didn't say it, but one of the things that have been said by many people is like it could have been their own mistake, one of their own missiles falling down because they had that was like a missile facility, like they used to either fabricate or study, test. I don't know what the hell they did there, but it was a missile base before it was a school. So, and they do like to hide things in civilian areas under schools. Like we saw that where some of their underground bases was, they have a lot of civilian structures. So I don't know what's going on here, but he's just saying, look, we don't have anything conclusive and I don't trust their pictures.
Yeah, but from our part, I think that given that this could be a mistake by the Americans, right? Like, I think too many people from our side are focusing on like, no, this was IRGC, this is fake, this is them using human shield. I think from our side, it makes sense to talk about the option, because if you focus on because you don't know what happened, and if you focus on all those other options, and then eventually it comes out that this was a mistake by United States, then everything you said was not only for nothing, but you're going to look like a fool, and people are going to take you a lot less seriously in the future. I think just focus on the option, given that this could be the case. Focus on the option that this was a mistake, intelligence failure by United States. And then what you say is that United States never targets children. The Islamic Republic and its proxies target children. Every single war has collateral damage. You're focusing on one example, but if you look at it statistically, this was a record low of innocent civilians dying in an operation at this scale. No military operation at this scale has ever had this low number of civilian casualties, even with adding all of the schoolgirls from Minab. So if you look at it from a big picture perspective, you should be congratulating Americans for being so moral and having such high standard and doing more than almost any other. Israel and United States do more than any other military in the world to try to reduce civilian casualties. And the numbers, you have a story, you have an example, I have numbers, I have data. No country has done more than United States and Israel to reduce civilian casualties, and the numbers show it. That's what I would focus on.
I see where you're coming from, but I wouldn't accept the premise. Like that was okay, it was a mistake. No, I'm not accepting that. I'm not accepting any blame. I'm not accepting any conclusion yet.
I'm not accepting that. I'm not accepting it. I said that it could be an option.
Could be. I would accept. Could be.
I would definitely not. I'm not saying that this is not with an assumption that this is what's happening. I'm saying even if, but go on.
Like my point is, they want you to admit it. They want you to say, "Oh well, it was a mistake." I'm not saying it was a mistake. I'm not even saying it happened. Like I won't even. I don't know if that happened. I don't know if those people are real. I don't know anything. We don't target. What I do know is we don't target innocents. That's what I do know. If it happened, I don't know. Whatever happened, I know we don't target innocents. Like, could there be a mistake? I don't even know if it happened. I don't even know if any of those people are real. I don't know if any of those. I don't know anything about that. I don't live there. I live very far away. I have no idea if any of that is true. Like from the reports I see, they're doing some kind of investigation. Let's see what happened. After the investigation, we can talk about it. Till then, I don't even know I don't know if anybody died. I don't know. Not my problem. We got bigger fish to fry. And right now, everybody knows who targets the innocents, and it's not us.
That's what I said. We don't know what happened. Even if this was a mistake, and you add all of their numbers to civilian casualties, it's still the lowest record of civilian casualties in a war at this operation, because United States not only it's not just that United States doesn't target children or innocent civilians. They go beyond that. They don't target children. They don't target civilians, but they also go out of their way to protect civilians. And the numbers show it, even if this was a mistake and you add the numbers to the total civilian casualties. And there's two other things that we need to add to that. The Islamic Republic targets children. The Islamic Republic targets civilians. And anybody who's talking about this and not talking about the tens of thousands of people that the civilians, unarmed civilians that the Islamic Republic killed in early January, and not talking about that is obviously somebody who doesn't give a crap about children and these lives. This is just a propaganda tool to defend an evil regime.
Yeah, it's them engaging whataboutism. They always bring these when you talk about what about the protesters. Like that was horrible, because that's pretty much what we were talking about a second ago. Like remember the first subject we talked about? Hey, they killed a lot of people, 52,000. And what's the follow-up always? This. It's a kind of whataboutism that they engage in.
One other thing I would like to add is that even if this was a US mistake and these are casualties in war, who brought the war to our country. So with that, again, this is an option. We don't know if this is an option, but this could be a mistake by United States, and that is part of the collateral damage that happens in any war. We know that every war has collateral damage, and not even the United States could bring that to zero. So we also know that it's the Islamic Republic who waged war against the United States, and United States responding was inevitable. When you declare war on the United States and promise that one day you're going to destroy the United States, eventually the United States is going to respond. And when the United States responds, there will be collateral damage. So even if this was an intelligence mistake by the United States, you killed those children because you brought war. You brought war to our land by waging war against the United States.
Exactly.
Okay. Let me see. So this was the Mu'inab situation. Then we had, this is Israel. So let me see what President Trump is. This is about Israel and southern Lebanon.
Do you want to see Israeli ground forces withdraw from southern Lebanon?
Well, redeploy is another word. Because, we're getting along very well with Lebanon. Israel's dealing with them very nicely. First time in many, many years. Lebanon has just been beaten up so badly, and they've got Hezbollah there. Southern Syria and from parts of Lebanon, it would be good to get out, I think. And I think you might see things get a little bit calmer because we have to focus our energy on the big leagues. The big leagues are Iran.
You mentioned when we spoke on the phone
Did
during
you-
the war that
Yeah, so I like this language. It's not they have to get out. It would be good if they leave. Yeah, obviously, if we all will love it if Israel leaves after they destroy Hezbollah one day, inshallah, if they could leave southern Lebanon, for sure, we all would love that. But I like this language that is not demanding of Israel to leave now. Right?
I also see 5 cuts already. Like I appreciate from Fox that they'll give you a big flash before they cut. But you don't know if he said we have a great deal going together. They're working together. These guys had signed a deal together. If they want to work together, they can work together. He just cuts to redeploy. So I don't know what that full conversation is like because we're 1 minute in and we got 5 cuts.
Yeah, I think they're trying to reduce the fluff and get to the meat. That's what they're doing.
Yeah, but there's a lot of context in the fluff that we don't know what like one man's fluff is another man's meat.
Yes. Yeah. True. When it comes to editing, they are more honest than other people, but I get your point.
Focus our energy on the big leagues. The big leagues are Iran.
you mentioned when we spoke on the phone during the war that Syrian President Ahmed al-Shara may be tasked with dealing with Hezbollah.
He would go in and take care of Hezbollah. And he'd do it in a different way. He wouldn't knock down buildings. I hated to see buildings knocked down.
Are you saying you believe he would?
What do you think about that? He wouldn't.
That's a
knock down
bias.
buildings.
That's a bias. He loves building. He loves building. He loves building buildings. This guy loves building. He loves construction. You're going to take the guy that's most famous for making buildings and building buildings, and buildings have been his life for like 50 years, and you show him a building crumbled. That's just, you're just hitting him at his weak spot.
Okay.
It's a little funny, but it's true.
But let's be clear, though. Let's be clear. Israel does not take down buildings unnecessarily. They do not do that. Israel goes out of their way to reduce collateral damage in lives and in infrastructure and buildings. Whatever, everything Israel does is necessary.
Have
in
you
fact,
seen
there are
them?
many things.
Like I've
Hold
seen
on,
them.
They're
Full of traps. They're full of bombs, mines.
Can I
Terrible.
Monkey, can I not get interrupted, please? Is that okay? Please.
I think it's important.
I know, but you could add anything that you think is important. Can you add it after I'm finished, please? I would be meaning a lot to me. Thank you. I don't even know what I was going to say. I lost my train of thought. It's okay.
Okay, so the point I was trying to make
no.
that they're not hitting buildings full of people. There's no one in these buildings because these buildings are full of mines. They're full of booby traps. Like, it's not the same thing to say, oh, Israel is hitting a building full of people. These buildings are empty and full of traps. And the point is that when the IDF goes in, or anybody, because the Lebanon military could be checking on these buildings are going to explode on these people. It's like you're taking off, you're blowing up a condemned structure that's full of booby traps. And I think that's an important context that doesn't get made enough, because people hear buildings, and they're hitting him in his soft spot when they say building. But you got to understand, this building isn't a building. This is a condemned structure full of booby traps made to kill people. And you don't know when the IDF is going to show up. And you know how curious kids are. Little curious kid goes in there and starts playing around there, falls on one of these mines. Boom, that kid. You don't know who's around there. It's incredibly dangerous. This isn't just a building. This is a structure made to kill where no one lives, and it's made to trap people in. And I think that does not get pointed out enough. I'd like to play that video every time because I've seen these buildings, and they're just traps.
Yes. All right. So Israel, guys, whatever Israel does, it has a good reason for it. Telling Israel not to knock down buildings is unnecessary, because if a building is getting knocked down, there's obviously a good reason for it. And Israel doesn't knock down buildings with people in it. Israel knocks down buildings. I mean, it's called roof knocking. Israel does that all the time. Okay. If you see in Lebanon or in Gaza a building going down, there was a strategic advantage to taking that building down, and there was no other way. Israel has gone above and beyond any other. The IDF has gone above and beyond any other military to try other ways to cause less destruction and lower loss of civilian life when it comes to defending themselves. They have done more than other people. If the enemies of Israel were at anyone else's borders, and they did to Israel, they did to those countries what these enemies did to Israel, those countries would turn that entirety of those countries into a parking lot if they could. And Israel holds back. Israel holds back so much that in so many of its military operations, they use less lethal forces, and terrorists got away. And terrorists got away and came back and eventually killed Israelis. There were so many targeted strikes by Israel that they decided to go with a less lethal missile, with a less explosive power, because there were civilians there, because it was in a tent, because there were people nearby. And then there were so many examples of the terrorists getting away because Israel was showing restraint. And in those examples, that terrorist that got away eventually came back and killed Israelis. So Israelis are dead today. There are Israelis who are dead today because Israel has shown restraint when it comes to defense. If anything, if you want to criticize Israel, the criticism is that they show too much restraint. They care too much about international opinion, because it backfires. Guys, Israel did surgery on Yahya Sinwar to save his life when they had him. The guy that planned October 7th, when he was in custody by the Israelis, he was dying, and Israelis saved his life, even though he was a terrorist. It was a terrorist that he has one purpose. When they were doing surgery on him, they did that with the knowledge that this guy's entire goal is to destroy Israel. And they used Israeli tax-paying money to do surgery on the man, to save his life. The man that eventually went and planned October 7th and killed so many Israeli citizens. That's what Israel has done. That is too much. That is too kind. That is too much restraint. So I don't think it makes sense to go to these people and tell them, like, hey, can you knock down less buildings? If Israelis are knocking down a building, that building needs to go down. That's what I think.
Can I speak on that as an American?
Yes, go ahead.
That's a whole lot of trust. Show the fucking building. Like I love that people love Israel and they're like, hey, they're doing the right thing, and you probably have mountains of evidence to prove that everything you're saying is true. But American is just say, okay, this guy just worships them. This guy, what do you mean that whatever Israel does is correct? Israel does nothing wrong. Everything they do is for a reason. Like, I understand that you have very good reason to say that, but an American is gonna want to see the fucking building and see the booby traps. That's why I am more in favor, and I try to do this on my show to show the things, because everything I'm telling you, Armin knows I'm right. Armin knows that they fill those buildings with booby traps, that they don't just knock down buildings full of people. But with Americans, they're like, I gotta see it, right? Just because you said it doesn't mean I'm gonna believe it. I know you're right. Like, I know you're right. But with Americans, when you say, no, trust me, every time that Israel does something, they're doing it for good. Like, they don't function like that, because they get lied to every day by every side of the media. So I know you're right, but I like to show them, because I don't have it right now, but I know I've seen the videos where they fill these things, traps in the floors, under the tiles, like all over the walls. Like, they put traps in dolls, in things that look like toys, so you try to grab it.
Got it. Yeah, you got it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I heard that. Yes, yeah, yeah. It's very useful to show that, and thank you for doing that. That's very helpful. Just to be clear, I didn't say just trust me. I did provide evidence for what the way Israel operates, and anybody could go check that. I give you.
They'll put you in that camp anyway.
Well, please do not interrupt me. I didn't so it wasn't, guys, it was never about like, oh, trust me, because trust me. It's not about that. I do give you a list of reasons why the way about a reason, like a list of evidence for how Israel operates, right? Also, just to be clear, I've never say Israel does nothing wrong. Never, ever have I said that, and I will never say that. In fact, I have a history of criticizing Israel. Just to be clear. All right. Let's finish this segment of this video. And guys, I see your super chats, and I will respond to them.
Knock down
I just don't want them to
buildings.
put you in
I
that
hated to
camp,
see
bro.
Thank you. No, I appreciate that. I just want to clarify. I wasn't fighting against you. I just want to clarify. So just want to clarify that I don't say trust me, bro. I do provide my arguments, and thank you. And Monkey, I really appreciate you having my back. Those are good advice, but I just wanted to add some clarification. Israel, United States, nobody is flawless, and one of the best ways to be pro-Israeli is to criticize Israel, give them a positive, and you know who does that the most? Israelis.
I hated to see buildings knocked down.
Are you saying you believe he would be more precise than the Israelis?
I think he'd be more precise, yeah. I think, and I can tell you, I know he'd like to do it.
Does he need the green?
So I don't think Jolani or Al-Shara would be more precise than the Israelis, just to be clear. I know maybe there's a 5D chess move happening here that he wants to go there and show how bad he is, so that then people could like, oh wow, we were wrong. Now, yes, Israel does this better, so now it's exposed that nobody could do it better than Israel. I know, like, there's an argument for a 5D chess move here, but I just want to clarify. If you say that Jolani is going to be more precise than Israelis, nobody is going to be more precise than Israelis in the Middle East. Maybe the Americans could be as good as they have. I mean, they have been. For example, we saw in Operation Epic Fury, Americans are very precise, but in the Middle East, nobody's going to be as precise as the Israelis, and especially not a former ISIS leader that probably played football with a child's head at some point. Right? Do you agree with that, Monkey? The Jolani is not going to be more precise. Okay.
Precise than the Israelis?
I think he'd be more precise, yeah. I think, and I can tell you, I know he'd like to do it.
Does he need the green light from you?
Yeah, actually, he might be right. Somebody in the chat is saying, yeah, Jolani won't destroy buildings. He will just massacre people. So, yeah, maybe he would destroy less buildings. Yeah, so, yeah, maybe that's what he means. Like, but, yeah.
I'm thinking about it.
Wait, what was this last question?
Yeah, I think,
Does he need the green light?
I can tell you, I know he'd like to do it.
Does he need the green light from you?
I'm thinking about it.
Okay, we'll see. Okay, we got 2 super chats. Zipgun with a super chat saying Trump's like Erdogan too much. He likes strong men. What do you say to that, Minky? What do you think?
I think he understands that to rule in any of these countries, you have to be strong. Like, look at the problems Ghalibaf has. Look at the problems when once you take a strong man from the top, that happens in all these countries. Like, yes, he does like strong men. He likes a man that you like, hey, you do what he says, or he's gonna kill you, and I'm in charge of him. Like, I think that's kind of what the logic is here. Now, as far as Jelani, I think this is the play I said before, and exactly what happened. Like, hey, Israel, Lebanon, you guys work together because you don't want Jelani, which is why I wanted the rest of the segments of that interview, because I think he's just playing that game. That, hey, you guys, I'd rather you guys stick together because you don't want to see another option. I'm thinking about it. You guys gonna get along? You guys are gonna get rid of Hezbollah together? Okay, can you guys work with each other, or do I gotta call somebody else here because we the three of us can't work this out? I think that's the play.
Okay, we might have some breaking news, but let me just respond to the super chats. Shauna, thank you so much for the super chat saying Monkey's right about this. Body cams would help. This helps expose the lies about the police. Yes, 100%. By the way, I do think Monkey. I do think there are videos out there, so that you could help with that by showing those videos. But when it comes to Israelis themselves, they have done a lot to show what are in these buildings. Like, I've seen plenty of videos exposing that. So I think Israel is not dropping the ball here. I think people like us, like Monkey, for example, showing those videos and commenting on them to their audience, that's where we could come in. But those videos exist, right?
They do exist. There's lots of them. And I'm going to tell you something from an America standpoint. You know what destroyed BLM? You know, that communist organization, Black Lives Matter, got a whole bunch of money from a bunch of places, just laundered it all through Act Blue. You know what destroyed them? Body cams. Because all these talk about these innocent Black people being gunned down by white policemen. No, the cops are usually the same color as the person they were arresting. A lot of Black cops. And the people being arrested or that had to be shot were absolutely deserving and going absolutely crazy and putting everyone in danger, shooting at the police, trying to stab the police. Like, there's nothing that has been more destructive to BLM than body cams.
Yeah, I'm assuming that soldiers already have that when they're moving in Gaza. But
they don't get shown enough, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they can't show everything because a lot of them are like operationally would make the IDF vulnerable. But I think that they do. I mean, they have shown there's a lot of videos exposing. Okay, so it says while the elite IDF units and specialist combat camera crews actively use helmet and body mounted cameras for tactical and public relationship. Oh, see, public relationship purposes. There is no universal mandate for every soldier in Gaza to wear one. Instead, personal recording remains common but heavily restricted, while the military relies primarily on aerial drones and biometric surveillance. So, but this does show that they do record things for PR purposes. So at least they have that.
They should do it more. Like, I have one, but the problem with the one I have is that it's from Hamas. I know they use the same tactics, and I know I've seen ones that are specifically from Lebanon. I'm going to send this one to you, right? But I had one from that it was in Lebanon, but I just can't find it.
Oh, Zipcom with another super chat saying there's plenty of evidence of IDF justification. The problem is MMM doesn't show it. What is MMM?
Mass multimedia.
Oh, okay.
Like,
yes.
I'm guessing YouTube doesn't put it in the algorithm. Like, you search for it and it doesn't show up, and then the MSN mainstream media won't report it. It's downgraded in the search for streaming platforms. So when you search for it, there's going to be 20, 30 things that have nothing to do with it that get higher priority.
Okay. So here's thank you, by the way. Thank you so much. Yep, I think you're right about that. But yeah, so we need to do a better. We also need to do a better job in showing that. But guys, look at this. So Niak is saying, breaking news: Iranians have once again taken to the streets in Tehran. The nationwide protests that began in December 2025 and accumulated in the bloody January 2026 started in this very place, Tehran's Grand Bazaar. Wait, what? Are you sure? Let me see. چارسو باید ببنده. So they're chanting. I'm trying to say what their chant is. چارسو باید... Something needs to be shut down. They're chanting something needs to be shut down. I don't know what. Guys, this is very daring. After, look at this monkey. After the Iranian, so there is new uprising. There's new protest, not an uprising yet. But this is very daring because these were the Bazaris who started the Lion and Sun revolution, and now they're back out, knowing that the last uprising led to a massacre of the Iranian people. And it's happening again.
Well, I mean, I think it's a good thing. I let you confirm how many are out there. I think these numbers are not too large, so I would want them to be extremely careful because they could be trapped. I'm hoping that they have good intelligence on where to go, and they have kind of like outlooks in front of where they're going and far behind, so they can signal, hey, they're coming after us, or hey, there's people ahead, so that they don't get trapped. But I'd make sure they have an exit strategy of where to spread, what to do. But they don't seem to be doing anything. Well, they don't seem to be doing anything violent, and any move made against them would probably be very, very abusive.
Okay, I have more footage of protests. So this seems to be confirmed. Look at this. Tehran, Iran today. Earlier today, Iranians have started to protest against the Islamic Republic at Tehran's Charsu. Okay, so this is Charsu and Aladdin Market. These are malls. So they're coming out and they're trying to shut down malls, big malls in Tehran. So here. So guys, we know that this is not big. So people are saying this is not big. We know, okay? But remember, the Lion and Sun revolution started like this. So this is why I'm calling it a protest, not an uprising. So this is not an uprising, but and many protests don't end up turning into an uprising. But the more protests that we have, one of them will eventually spark an uprising. So the Lion and Sun uprising in early January, in late December, and then early January of 2026, which had millions of Iranians in the streets, started with a small protest by the Bazaris like this. That's why we're paying attention to this. So we know that this is not that as big, but usually it's a protest that like this that sparks into a full-out uprising. So let's look at this. Okay, so I'm seeing other comments, other accounts also are confirming this, that this is from today. Need to see, to be 100% sure, I need to see Iran International or somewhere else. Let me check with Shin, but I haven't seen this video before. So apparently the strategy is that they're trying to get the malls closed. That's interesting. They're trying to put economic pressure on the Islamic Republic by having the malls closed down.
That makes sense. Like having a goal in sight and not just like, hey, let's just keep rolling and rolling and rolling, just having like kind of a bit of a goal. Yeah, that makes sense. The only problem I see with this is once you're all inside a mall, it's easier to trap you in a mall. But I believe these places have a lot of exits. Maybe they have some exit strategies. Like I like just knowing what happened. Like 50, low estimate is 52,000. That's just what we can confirm. That's a lot of deaths. So I'd be very worried. But some people get so sick of it that they can't take it anymore, and I respect that.
So some people in the chat are saying that this is 2028. I mean, that would be strange because if you're right, like I mean, New York is posting this. We usually trust New York, but I wouldn't 100%.
2028.
Sorry, 2018. But I mean, New York is posting this, saying that this is today. Sorry, 2018, guys. Somebody said it in the chat. Let me post it. Somebody saying it's 20, but
We're only human, guys. Come on.
Yes. Sorry, guys. I'm not trusting it 100%, but New York usually is good. If this is wrong, I don't know. Calling out the traders.
It's
Sources.
unconfirmed, but it's enough to be reported on. Sources reportable, but we're still at unconfirmed. Is that a correct assessment?
It's strange because both New York and Savak said they're reporting it. I will check. Let me play this while I check with Vahid online. Let me see, dear guys. Oh, we already saw this one. Look, this is Savak Zadeh, which is also usually a good source, saying breaking news. People chanting, close it down at the Charsu and Aladdin Mall in Tehran. So these are multiple sources that usually get it right. Let me check with Vahid online. I'm not seeing it on Vahid online. Vahid online and Sheen are not posting it yet. Iranians in the chat. No, they're not saying Engalab. They're saying Etisab. Etisab means strike. Okay, I'll keep an eye on this. If it gets confirmed, the best places to get this confirmed fastest is Iran International and Vahid Online and Shin. And none of them are...
What was the other word? Strike, and what was the other word?
So, shut it down. Basically, shut down the mall.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's really hard to say that these people want the destruction of the nation. Like strategically, the words they're using and the tactic they're using, like, you know, it's hard to code it as these people, they just want the destruction of the regime, blah, blah, blah. Like this can very, very well seem like an economic protest, which I think is wise, given how trigger happy some of these people can be. But, you know, let's see what happens. I'm apprehensive, okay? I don't want these people to get hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know you got a right to do whatever they want, but like inside my heart, I'm like, oh my God. You understand what I mean?
Okay. So another person, by the way, guys, when I say mean strike, I don't mean strike as in hitting, and strike as in, you know, when people stop working and shut down the business, that kind of strike. How do you describe that, Monkey, for people? I don't know how to.
We also call it a strike.
Yes.
Like in America, strike is usually, you know, not.
Yeah, because I saw in the chat some people thought that when I said strike, I mean like hitting. No, I mean like these are Bazari people. These are the business people who are shutting down their own business and they're asking other shop owners to shut down their business as well. So guys, look, this is from a different angle. I'm leaning a little bit towards this is actually being recent, because many accounts are now posting this at the same time, and this is from a new angle here. So I don't think this is 2018.
You've probably seen many of the 2018 videos, right? Like you'd recognize them.
Yeah, I don't remember this. They're saying it is up, it is up, it is up. So it means like strike, 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 like shut it down, shut it down. So they're saying bebandish, 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 which means shut it down, shut it down. Like they're asking their co-workers, the other shop owners, to shut down. I mean, the quality of the video is weirdly low, so I don't know why. Maybe it is 2018, but I'm just
how much like would you make that kind of video if you have constraints on upload?
Yeah.
Like if you don't want a super high resolution video, even if it's short, because it's a lot of megabytes of bandwidth to get that uploaded. I don't know about that. I saw a comment that I thought was kind of smart. Mozio says, it's perfect to start with shopping malls because there won't be any aerial attacks on a shopping mall. No, we probably would never strike a mall. Like anything that happens to a mall, like maybe IRGC would do it, but we wouldn't do it. Like even if there's airstrikes going during the air, it's probably one of the safer places to go if you're gonna go out. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. Okay, by the way, Monkey, so many accounts are posting this. So many. Oh, kind of embarrassing. Like, I don't know. امکان بررسی این که امروز آنجا شلوغ بوده یا نه رو ندارم، ولی این ویدیو منتشر شده از بازار برای Okay, so somebody is saying it's 2018. At least one of the videos is 2018. Look at this. This guy is fact checking for us. He's saying this video is 2018 and he has the proof. He shows the article. So that was 2018. But Neoberg, the videos from inside, Neoberg saying Neoberg is posting. Again, none of this is confirmed unless I see it on Shin, on Iran International, or on Vahid Online. But Neoberg saying Iran is about to explode. This is today in the same place that sparked the January Lion and Sun uprising, Aladdin passage. The whole country is furious at the Islamic regime. Iranian people have unfinished business with the IRGC. Iran wants revenge. Okay, guys, if these videos are old, then all of these accounts, like seriously, you guys need to do better, because I trusted you guys, but I am not trusting you 100%. This is why I'm like going out and say, because look, they're even writing on it 2026. They're even writing on it. So this is irresponsible. If this is old, this is irresponsible. Because Neoberg is like a huge, big account. So look at this. The ads, people, look at this. Zipgun is saying the ads are for Galaxy 9. So that is 2018. But look at this. This ad over here. Let me remove the super chat. It says Galaxy S9, so that means it's 2018. Okay, what do you think, Monkey?
I think I don't know. I don't know what. First of all, I don't know what Galaxy is out now. Number one. Number two, I don't know if that model would be available there or this is the latest one there. Like if we're up to the Galaxy S15, I'd say, well, then that doesn't make sense. But if we're up to the S10 or the S11, I'm like, well, you know, they could still be having that one on special. Like, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, BT June also with the same super chat saying Galaxy S9 being promoted on the flags in the mall. Feinstra is pointing this out. Yep, look at this one as well. This is Galaxy S9. I don't know if I don't think they would promote a phone that old on
I don't
everywhere.
know. Okay, so the chat saying we're at the S26. So this would be a very long time ago.
Yeah, okay. So good job, guys. You are, I mean, we have to, I mean, it's weird because look at this giant accounts. Like Neo Berg is posting this. If this is like she has like close to 500,000 followers and she's posting this.
So I would like the
somebody-
chat to appreciate why we're kind of doing the sleuthing and saying, hey, this is possible but not confirmed. And we're sleuthing.
Yes.
We're finding out.
But why is it spreading so much over so many accounts? Like accounts that are supposed to be better. This account is like I appreciate this account. Like this account only
Yes.
has 31. He did like some fact checking and he went and found this like and look, and he's also not saying it's all fake. Look how responsible he's being. Look at this. He's saying I don't have the ability to check whether it was crowded there today, but this published video of the market is from the year 2018, and he's like showing the proof. So this guy is good. I appreciate this guy. Patriot is called Patriot. So Apran, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Anyways, just want to promote that.
Well,
Very
I think
disappointed.
it's a responsible thing to do. You have to check this thing. 1 second, please.
Yes, okay. You guys, thank you guys in the chat. You guys are awesome. This is why we do this live with you guys. So Gitmo Holiday is saying, I did see Galaxy S9 printed on the escalator. Yes, good job. Good job, guys. So is it all fake? Don't we have like zero? Do we have zero? So it's all made up or not? This is why I say the 3 accounts that I will consider true, I will consider it like almost 100% confirmed, is Iran International, Vahid Online, and Shin. But even then, it's not 100%. It just becomes more likely. So this guy is posting. He's saying, Tamame. So let me read the translation. All published video titled as today's market protests are old and not related to today. Please, if you have shared them, delete them to prevent the spread of misinformation. Okay, I'm really disappointed in Neo Berg. Like usually she get these things right. And she posted this without like being skeptical about it. Not only she shared it, she posted a video by writing 2026 on it. I mean, again, I have to be skeptical. If all of this is actually old, Neo Berg should have done better. She's like a huge Iranian account that so many non-Iranians use as their source of information. And if this is old, this is irresponsible. And I do want to promote the accounts that are going out and digging. Like this guy went and found the article. Yep, look at this. You have the date right here. And all of these videos seem to be old. That is sad. So let me actually promote the accounts that are doing fact checking. I don't know, guys. If these people have a bad history against Pahlavi, I don't know. I'm just appreciating the fact check. That's crazy. Guys, you guys in the chat are doing a better job helping us fact check this than some of the biggest accounts covering this. This is why you can't trust what you see on social media. Thank you guys thank you everybody here for pointing this out. I'm actually kind of surprised if all of these videos are old, because so many trusted accounts, so many accounts that other people trust are just posting this. So disappointing. Wow. My God, look at my feed is filled with people saying like new protests. Okay. So now look at this. Live Iran News, another big account, is posting this as if it's a true story. Jesus. Hold on. Look at this. This is the account Live Iran News with 131 followers. And if you scroll down, he posted this. And if you look at the translation, saying strike and protest gathering by Aladdin and Charsu Bazaar merchants in Tehran and Charsu complex in Tehran went on strike and held a protest gathering on Wednesday, July 15, 2026. No. Look, other people are pointing to him that he's wrong. Like, no, it's wrong, it's wrong, it's wrong. People are saying, no, you're wrong, stop it. Look at this. This was actually posted in 2018. Here, you can see 2018, this video. Oh my God. So guys, let's actually look at the accounts that are posting that we shouldn't be trusting anymore. So Live Iran News is an account that many people trust, and so you could see that unfortunately they didn't do their homework. Neoberg, she didn't do her homework. Unfortunately, this is bad. So guys, this is why we should be trusting, like, you guys, even Vahid Online and Shin is not as trustworthy as an account like Iran International. And even Iran International is not as trustworthy as directly from the source. For example, CENTCOM, President Trump, the White House, the IDF account. Those are like the ultimate sources. It comes directly from the source. Are you back, Monkey?
I'm kind of in a call. 1 second.
Oh, okay, no worries. Let me see. Remove the banner. Oh, sorry. Here, I could do fake news on. Here, I have a new banner. Do you like my banner now? Bill was saying, remove the banner. I fixed the banner. All right, we're good now. I think we should. Okay, let me actually show you guys this. Guys, we are going to be going to our discussion group pretty soon. Let me see. Let me link it in the chat. If you guys want to come talk to me and the monkey directly, you could join our group call that is happening in about an hour and 20 minutes. So if you come to our Liberty Politics discussion group, you're going to be able to find our group calls in the calendar section. And the next one is happening in about an hour and 20 minutes, right? And if you don't want to come into our group call, you could watch it because we're going to be broadcasting it live on Liberty Politics YouTube channel. So make sure you guys are subscribed to Liberty Politics on YouTube so you don't miss our, we go live often. Like, we go live more than 10 hours a day. So make sure you basically, it's very convenient whenever you could basically come join our lives whenever it's convenient for you, because we're live more than 10 hours every day. So just subscribe and hit the bell notification so you don't miss it. And also don't forget to subscribe to the monkey. We're trying to get him to 1,000 subscribers so that he could. Oh, look at this. The monkey got to 670 already. But yeah, subscribe to him. So
Three more, and I get to 675. Maybe 3 more of you might want to check me out. I'm going to be starting at 9 p.m. Eastern every day. I want to establish a place where you guys can find me there, steady and ready, every night, so you guys can come over and you know exactly what's going to happen and when, and so you guys can count on me to be there in the background, talk directly to me, whatever you want. I want to be there for you, giving you some news and some views.
Awesome, good job, monkey. Really good work. Your channel is going really fast. Guys, they say the average time that it takes to get to monetization is 18 months, and we're already more than halfway there. And it hasn't even been a month for monkey, right? Has it been a month?
I'm gonna triple my watch hours pretty soon. I'm about to reach 3,000. The people that do watch tend to watch for a long time, and I do appreciate you guys sticking around.
Awesome. All right, guys. If you're watching this on Liberty Politics, make sure on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell notification. If you're watching this on the Monkeys channel, make sure you subscribe there and hit the bell notification. If you're watching us on X, follow us on X, and also come on YouTube and search for us on YouTube and subscribe to us there. And don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to leave a comment. And we appreciate all of that. All of those things really helps us grow. So thank you so much for all the support. And we're going to go get ready for our group call in the discussion group. And till next time, I'm Israel Chai, Slava Ukrainian, Cuba Libre, Long Live America, Javicha, Payande.
Payande Iran.
See you guys soon.